All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. We have a full house today, so we're going to get started. Thank you so much for your patience. The time is now 5:31. I'm going to call this meeting to order. It has been properly posted as required by state law, and we are going to start now with the invocation. If we could please stand. Heavenly Father, we pray that you bless our community and tonight's commission meeting. Guide us in our discussions, enlighten our minds in every decision that we make. Give us your grace that we may effectively do our parts as public servants. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Amen. And now the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I will ask the city attorney to please read the conflict of interest.
Yes, ma'am. Under state law, a conflict of interest exists if a council member or certain members of that person's family has a qualifying financial interest in an agenda item. Members with a conflict of interest cannot participate in the discussion nor vote on the agenda item. Are there any known conflicts of interest to disclose at this time?
None.
None.
No.
None.
No.
And none. All right, thank you very much. And we are going to take things just slightly out of order because we have a lot of people in the room, and I'd like to be able to get you folks out if it is you wish to go home. So we're going to come back to the citizen communication, but we're first going to start with item number 1, which is the presentation of proclamations and recognition awards. Christina, will you present the first one?
Good evening, Mayor, City Commission, and of course, our wonderful audience who joins us here today. There are several proclamations and recognitions, which means there are a lot of amazing things happening in Harlingen. So we'd like to start off today with recognizing our very important telecommunicators. And joining us here today are members of STEC, which is our ambulance service. There are a lot of people from STEC here today, including Sandra Solis, if you could stand to be recognized. She is the MedCom supervisor, so she handles dispatch. Joining us today is also Bill Aston, Leonardo, Renee Perez, Director of Patient Transportation Services, Carlos Cisneros, Abel Villarreal, and Melanie Manchin. And there are some others who are joining us here today, but they said the star of the show today is Sandra for all the work that she does as a telecommunicator. And joining us also is our City of Harlingen Communications Center staff, including Cindy Garza, if you could stand to be recognized, our communications manager, Joe De Leon, the supervisor. Moses Cruz. Liz Herrera. Emma Villegas. Yes. Just by the door, and Sophia as well. She's downstairs, but I believe they can hear us down there, so we ask her to come up and join us up here for the proclamation. So the Office of the Mayor and the Mayor City Commission are presenting this proclamation to our telecommunicators. It reads as follows. Whereas 911 is nationally recognized as a number for all emergency to receive immediate help from police, fire, emergency personnel services, emergency medical services, or other appropriate emergency response entities. And Congress designated 911 as a national emergency call number under Wireless Communications and Public Safety Act of 1999. The Enhanced 911 Act of 2004 established 911 as a high national priority as part of our nation's homeland security and public safety. People of all ages use 911, and it is critical to educate the public of all ages on the proper use of 911. And whereas a growing segment of the population, including hard of hearing and individuals with speech disabilities, increasingly communicate with non-traditional text, video, and instant messaging communication services. And these services can connect directly to 911. Thousands of 911 calls are made every day, every year, by children adequately trained in the use of 911, resulting in lives saved, which underscores the critical importance of teaching children early in life about 911. There is a widespread misuse of 911 system, including prank and non-emergency calls, which can result in costly and inefficient use of emergency response resources. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor of Harlingen, Norma Sepulveda, on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proclaim April 2023 as the City of Harlingen 911 Telecommunicators Week. Congratulations. And we ask all of them to, I believe the mayor has a few words to share before we ask you all to join us up front for a photo.
Sure, yes, and so thank you so much for all of your hard work, and thank you both our STEC and HPD. You all are truly, really the first responders of our community. We understand the enormous pressure and stress that answering these phone calls, and you are truly a lifeline for the guys that are out on the field, whether it be the paramedics or it's our officers on the field. So without you, we could not run our community. So we are all incredibly grateful for the work that you do, and we just want to make sure that you know that you are appreciated, and we are here to support you in any way possible. And I think I speak for the commission when I say that you are doing a phenomenal job. Thank you so much. If we can get all of everyone's name that was called to come up to the front, and if the commission will join me in this photo.
Like I did on the stage.
And we also want to mention that their Dispatcher of the Year also joined us, Esmeralda Ortiz. She was part of the group, as well as Carlos Cantu, the supervisor, CPA for the city of Harlingen.
Can we give them just one more round of applause, y'all? These are the guys that answer the call when you have an emergency. Thank you. Moving on, Christina.
This month is also National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we are proclaiming that here today. Joining us is, I know she was downstairs, so I'm not sure if she is currently in the room. I know it's a packed house, but Andela Gonzalez from CPS, Child Protective Services, is here in the city today. She is part of the Adoption Division. We also do have the Executive Director of Maggie's House. If you could please wave to be recognized, Martha Martinez. We also have, if you could please wave, Joanna Ochoa as well. And they work in very close partnership with the Harlingen Police Department. And joining us here today, we have Detective Vega and Detective Investigator Felipe Cantu, who are, they investigate these very sensitive cases, and we appreciate all that they do to ensure that is taking place. So today we are recognizing the month of April 2023 as National Child Abuse Prevention Month, whereas Children Advocacy Centers of Cameron and Willacy counties, better known as Monica's House, was established in 1998 and opened in Brownsville, Texas. Maggie's House opened its doors in 2001 to expand its services to meet the needs of victims in northern Cameron County in San Benito and a satellite office in Raymondville. Whereas the Children Advocacy Centers of Cameron and Willacy counties serves and advocates for child victims of abuse through education, prevention, intervention, and recovery. And during the month of April, National Child Abuse Prevention Month is observed to help share the importance of communities working together and to help families thrive and prevent neglect. Whereas prevention, assessment, investigation, prosecution, and treatment are related services offered by public agencies and nonprofits working together to recognize the importance of families and communities. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Mayor Norma Sepulveda, on behalf of the City Commission of Harlingen, does hereby recognize Child Abuse Prevention Month, April 2023. Thank you all for all the work that you do.
Yes, thank you so much. I know each and every one of you are very passionate about the work that you do, and we are incredibly grateful that we have here in our community such superstars, each one of you, for the work that you do. It's not easy work, so I commend you for your dedication, your commitment, and your passion. If y'all can join me here for a photo, along with the commission, please.
Before all of y'all leave, I want to just thank you guys very much for everything y'all do. Unfortunately, I had in my previous job the role of prosecuting a lot of those child abuse cases. That was before I had children of my own, and it was heartbreaking even then. And as a father now, it's very tough. And the fact that Monica's House, y'all do the interviews, I've watched those interviews, they're heartbreaking. Thank you for everything y'all do.
And if I may say something, as the president of the board of directors for CASA, Cameron-Wolsey County, obviously you know how much we hold you in high regard, all of you, so thank you for everything you do.
And please know that, you know, the city of Harlingen and this commission stands ready to help you in any way that you need that support. Okay, thank you very much.
We are in Harlingen, so we are serving the community.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, so we do have some students from Bonham Elementary that are here in the second row. Something very exciting happened recently. They traveled to McAllen this year to compete in the Super State Chess Tournament. So I know chess is a really tough game and not everyone knows how to play it, but they actually secured the co-champion in the elementary division, and they are going to head to the national championship next month, where they're going to represent the city of Harlingen in Maryland. That's very exciting that you all won such a prestigious award, and we're very happy to call you all residents of Harlingen and students of Harlingen. So the mayor and the city commission want to meet you all and want to award you with something very important for being so dedicated to the game of chess and being dedicated in school as well. So joining us here today, we have their music teacher, well, he's a music teacher at Bonham Elementary, but he's also a sponsor of the chess team, Eric Sanchez. Their coach, Manuel Gonzalez. And their principal and assistant principal, Hermina Ramirez and Aminda Peña. So we would like to have you all join the mayor and commission up front to accept a recognition award. The city of Harlingen congratulates and proudly presents this award to the Bonham Elementary chess team. Please stand to be recognized. Joshua Berman. And wave too so we can see who you are. Awesome. Miranda Quesada. Leila Cerda. Emery Rizzo. Caceres Garcia. Sofia Rosas. And Lexi Cerda as well. And of course, Chase Leos. And if I got any of your names wrong, you can tell me afterwards so I can get them right next time, okay? All right, and if there's anyone else that's part of the chess team, please stand to be recognized. Is that everyone? Perfect, awesome. So if you could join us up front, I'm sure the mayor has a few words to share with you as you all make your way up front to meet with the mayor and commission and be presented another award for your amazing success.
So if we can have all of these incredible leaders to come and meet us up here in the front that are impeccably dressed. And we would, if the commission can join me, so we can take this photo. Oh, that's a handshake. Oh, my goodness. Future president. Well, we know that you are going to make us proud because you have already made us proud. The city of Harlingen is incredibly thankful because that is a difficult game that the mayor of Harlingen does not know how to play. So you are already better than I am, and I am amazed at the talent, and I know that you guys are going to do great things, not just in test, but in everything that you do and you put your mind to. So thank you so much for taking some time to spend with us, and now we are going to take a photo. I'm going to stand here. I'm going to hold it together. This is from the mayor and commissioner. You want to look right here at this camera?
Okay. All right, ready, everybody? Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Got it.
Thank you.
And we also want to recognize NOAA Rodriguez, who's also their volunteer coach. And of course, we also want to thank and recognize all the parents of the students who are with us today. And we really appreciate you all joining us and cheering them on.
And if you win, pizza on me, okay? Me, not these guys, unless they want to share, but no pressure.
All right, moving on, we have with us today the Harlingen South basketball team, including their head coach, Brian Molina, and their assistant coach, Armando Perez. If you all could stand to be recognized. Oh, they're already standing. They're over here. The basketball team, which I believe they might be towards the back of the room. If you all could please stand to be recognized. They are part of the varsity team who secured the district championship this year, and their coach told me that this is the 21st year in a row that they've achieved this big accomplishment. Wow. So how about a huge round of applause? They are really keeping the tradition alive. So if we can have you all join us up front to receive the award from the Mayor and City Commission.
Commissioner, you want to say a few words?
Yeah, okay. I just want to say a few words. I'm a teacher. As some of you may know, I'm a teacher at South, and actually some of these players are some of my students, and I know firsthand the dedication and the hard work it takes to excel at what they do, because they show it to me every day in the classroom, and they've obviously showed it on the basketball court as well. So again, I just want to say, guys, you guys are awesome. Way to keep up the Hawk pride, guys. I mean, you guys, great, and Coach of the Year as well. I mean, you're excellent. I mean, you set the standard for the Valley in basketball, and I just want to say that as a former Hawk and as a teacher there at Hawk, I appreciate what you do and what you do with these boys here. I mean, you just do an awesome job, and thank you for that, as a teacher and as a commissioner. Thank you.
So you guys want to see sophomores, juniors, seniors? Wow, juniors and freshmen, for me,
Basketball, I can see that. Where you got that?
I thought I recognized you as here. No, I was here as much as
Smile like your district champs. I'm so sorry. Congratulations.
Junior services.
That's awesome. That's a story. I can imagine. I would think so. Okay. Are you, that's it, right, for these proclamations? All right. Thank you very much, Christina, for that excellent job presenting these proclamations. We are going to move back on to citizen communication. Amanda, do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, Mayor, we received 11. Out of those 11, 4 would like to be called,
Okay.
and the others would not like to be called. Copies were distributed to the commission so that they could read their comments.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you for that. And can we start with the first one that would like to be called?
Yes, ma'am. Selena Garrison. She would like to be called, Mayor.
Thank you.
I think that's her right there.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I'm sorry, I thought you meant called to the podium.
No, oh, okay.
Thank you. Yes, please come to the podium.
Hello, my name is Selena Garrison. I am very nervous, but this is so important that I have to talk to y'all. I am an accountant. We own several businesses here. We own several residential and commercial properties that we rent out. Sorry. And I'm also a member of the Harlingen Chapter Pan American Golf Association. Locally, we have over 70 members here. Valley-wide, we have over 200 members. Statewide, we have over 6,000 members. And we play golf a lot, especially at the Tony Butler Golf Course. We're there almost every day. Well, we are there every day. I take that back. We are there every day. And we need this golf course, but we need it in a shape that we can play on. And we have hosted several golf tournaments here. They're national amateur tournaments. They bring in over 300 members to play. They're here for a week. They stay here with their families. They spend over $250,000 every single time they come. They shop at our restaurants. I mean, they spend money at our restaurants, transportation, hotels. They book all the hotels. They spend retail enormous amounts of money, and I know that personally because I have buses going on all day long on Saturdays from the hotel to the downtown area, and they're shopping like crazy. And they do spend over $250,000. And we would like to have more tournaments here that are national level, but we can't because the Tony Butler is not up to par. It will not pass inspection. And y'all know that because y'all have neglected the golf course for over 10 years. And that golf course has to be up to par, not only for the people that come in from everywhere, including the Winter Texans and our members from all over the state, but our students go there every day also. I think over 30 or 40 schools go out there every single week. And if you care nothing about all the tourism, if you care nothing about anything else, care about the students that have to play there every day, that are out there, instead of stuck in a room in front of a computer, they're out there playing every day, and they're playing a game that they love. Think about them, if nothing else. So let's pretend you could care less about the sales revenue, which a lot of the winter tourists bring in, which a lot of our members bring in. If you care nothing about that, we can get rid of the hotels, we can get rid of the restaurants, half the restaurant, we can get rid of all the big box. We don't have to have the sales revenue. We could be a little town like Santa Rosa that doesn't have a big golf course, and we can just be a small town. We can have half of our people lose their jobs because of their sales revenue is not there, and be on public assistance or whatever else. We can do all that, but at least think about the students that love to play the game of golf and do hope someday to be another Tiger Woods or another.
3 minutes are up.
Okay. Anyway, just think about our students, and if nothing else, think about keeping something that's not dilapidated, that's in good shape. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Garrison.
The next one is Steve Brewer.
Good evening. My name is Steve Brewer. I'm originally from La Feria. I've lived here in Harlingen the past 6 years. I'm the former mayor of La Feria. I was elected 3 terms in La Feria, and I understand the workings, how government and monies work. I'd like to congratulate the 4B committee on having the foresight and the wherewithal to approve the monies that we're going to be talking about tonight. The Tony Butler Golf Course desperately needs this upgrade. I serve on the Golf Course Advisory Board for Tony Butler, representing the city of Harlingen, but I really grew up at this golf course. And I'm just begging this commission not to kick the bucket down the road like it has been done in past administrations, where you feed the golf course just enough money to get by, but never really upgrade the facilities to a first-class facility. Harlingen deserves a first-class golf course. And destinations are lifeblood to cities. There aren't many destinations in town. Bass Pro's a destination, airport, but destinations bring in not only servicing the local residents, but bringing in monies from outside the city, the region, the area, valley-wide. You put a good golf course out there, you're gonna generate a ton of play. These people spend money at restaurants, just like the young lady was saying before. Hotel motel tax is awesome. You have more tournaments. You can even have collegiate tournaments. There's a lot of things we can do that really improve Harlingen's image and Harlingen's setting. If we kick the bucket down the road, we're not doing any good. You can ask, there's a ton of former players here, but we really need a first-class facility. And I urge the commission and mayor, please approve the money 4B set aside. Tony Butler desperately needs it, and it'll put it in first-class shape and really give us something to be proud of. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer.
The next one is Raymond Reyes. Responsibility.
Raymond Reyes, 706 Nantucket Drive. Basically, responsibility is what I want to talk about. So you guys have inherited the responsibility of picking up where most of the last administration left off. You know, again, as I've stated before, it's always a work in progress. The golf course, well, that's up to you guys, but it has been neglected for a very long time. You know, it's just like anything. You know, a car, you don't take care of it, it's going to take a lot of money to get it back up to par. I used to be one of the partners that owned Cottonwood Country Club, which has a golf course, 9-hole golf course. And it was a lot of money went into that thing to maintain it and keep it. Now I believe it's privately owned by the residents themselves. So, you know, if you all, you know, money's tight everywhere, things are tight everywhere. Just, as always, do the best you can with what you got. On another note, I have reached out to some individuals on the commission about my other company, my corporate entity in San Antonio. It's an IT company. And there's a lot of grant money out there to bring up the internet services up to par. I know the company that's laying out all this fiber. I know them because I've been doing this stuff for 38 years, and I've done it in 30 countries around the globe. You know, the USDA right now has a grant of $80 million that's going to get ready to close out in 10 weeks. It's been out there for a while. From what I understand, nobody's actually, whatever grant writers you have, because we have our own team of grant writers. We work with a lot of different counties, other companies. One of my partners works with 500 different counties in the United States. So my partners are new to the game, but I'm an old dog to the game. You know, I've offered to help out in many different ways when I can. Again, I've spoken to certain individuals about certain things. But if you don't move on, it's just going to close. And it's your responsibility to do the best you can for the citizens of Harlingen. You know, along with the good comes with the bad, because then bad things are going to happen. We know other cities have dropped the ball on certain things, and it just doesn't pan out. And the ones who end up suffering are the citizens of Harlingen. When you guys have been elected to do the right things for the right reasons, not for favors, not for compadres, not for the backup, or whatever the case may be. That doesn't fly with me. That's why I have what I have. I do what I do, and I'm a straight shooter, you know? I don't bend the rules. If it works out, it works out. If I take a loss, I take a loss. But it's a lesson learned always. So I hope that we do the right thing for the right reasons, because I can see that Harlingen could have a very, very bright future and make its mark in the valley, like is well overdue in my opinion. And I'm from San Antonio, you know, and I made roots here, and I'm going to stay here. So, and my grandkids are here, so I ain't going nowhere for a while. So that's it. You guys have a good day, afternoon. As for me, I got to continue doing what I do. Y'all have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes.
The next one is Jose Silva. The address is 1313 White Oak in Harlingen.
Good afternoon, folks. Thanks for having me here and allowing to speak to you, and I thank you for all you do for our communities here and surrounding cities also. One of the things that I like to say is a little quotation that we used during the pandemic that we all went through. I'm the owner of the Golden Corral here in Harlingen. I've been with them for about 19 years now. One of the things we used to say was the comeback is greater than the setback. And of course, a lot of us all know how much of a setback our golf course here locally has gone through. But I think that right now is the opportunity that we could see the daylight, to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and the opportunity to bring that golf course back to life. Believe you me, I've been involved with a lot of tournaments, catering, and offering all kinds of an assistance to organizations and charity work. And I would just do flips just to have a lot of those tournaments here in Harlingen. As was mentioned earlier, the PAGA, I was part of PAGA and still am. I was the vice president on the board also for a couple of years. And I've been to a couple of the nationals that they have, and they bring in a lot of income. And as Ms. Selena was mentioning about presenting a tournament, a national tournament here, they sent a delegation down here to the city. They get to meet the commissioners, they get to meet the mayor and shake hands and all, and see what's all involved. We've got a beautiful convention center that's there, that's just ready to be, used by a national committee such as the Pan American Golf Association. During this pandemic that we had, buffet-style restaurants, everybody thought maybe this might be the ending of it, and a lot of my employees, the system-wide, was worried a little bit, but we stayed after it. We kept grinding, just like all the other competitors, nationally wise, and even here locally. And we just kept saying the comeback's going to be bigger. We're going to come through it, and we're going to be one. We're just going to stand out there and shine. Right now, we've got 328 Golden Corral restaurants nationwide. We had a beautiful winter Texan season this year. A lot of old winter Texans that, well, they're old, but they didn't come back since 2019 because of what was going on. And they could see and taste the growth that's coming. And he says, you guys got something going here. In fact, we had 3 couples from Scotland that the last time they came down here was the beginning of 2019. And talking with them, they're going through the same thing that we're going as a country here. But one of the things they noticed was that there's things moving, things happening. And one of the good things that we have down here that a lot of markets don't have is year-round golf. We have an opportunity down here that, I mean, in December, we're golfing. Up in Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, they're shoveling snow. You know, here we have the opportunity to shine and bring back Harlingen, especially with a new mayor, new commissioners. And my time is up, but thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Silva.
Okay, the next one is Edward Rocha.
That's my stepdad, but can I speak on behalf of him?
Sure.
Hello, my name is.
Yes, your name, please.
Oh, hello. Do I get closer? Okay. Hello, my name is Olivia Garza, and I'm speaking on the funding for Harlingen Tony Butler Golf Course. I've learned the game of golf and played for both Memorial Middle School and Harlingen High golf teams at Tony Butler Golf Course. Harlingen is a below-poverty town where children and young adults have the statistics against them, often finding themselves in trouble with law enforcement. Being a part of the golf program has kept me and many people I know off the streets and out of trouble. I've learned self-respect and respect for others in the community and the environment around me. Many others, and I included, have learned many beneficial life lessons in how to be a good person because of golf. If the city of Harlingen puts the money in renovating Tony Butler Golf Course, we can bring visitors and players of all ages, bring jobs and more money, and make Harlingen a destination city for many years to come. It is an investment for future generations and the growth of our city.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The next one is Olivia Garza. Oh, okay. Kyle Collins, 1722 Stone Drive. He did not want to be called mayor.
Okay. No one's outside. Next.
Tom Parrott,
Tom Kayak.
Tom Parrott.
Is that you, sir?
No, that's Eric.
Sorry, I can't see.
Ken
Okay.
Campreth.
Ken Campreth? And if Eric wants to correct me in all these, that's fine.
Yes.
The names.
Me too.
Uh,
Mike Hendrick. No? Okay, let's see. Ron Tilfworth. No?
Okay,
That's it, Nick.
all right. And so,
I had, in good faith,
okay, I'm
also.
going to have to ask you to sit down, Mr. Lozano. I apologize. I know that there's some issues, but since you didn't sign up, it wouldn't be fair
I
to
did
all
sign
these
up, that's
folks.
exactly the point. I did sign up in good faith. Solely for this meeting, they decided to alter the time. I certainly think that that's a violation, and it's not an administrative matter. This is something under the Open Meetings Act. The last amendment was done by a local legislator, and there has been a case law that directly conflicts with what was stated by your own attorney. So I just wanted to speak very briefly. I know your son is a golfer. So if I may, for about 25 seconds, I echo what has been stated.
Mr. Lozano, I'm going to have to ask you to sit down.
All
I
right.
do apologize. I'm on advice of counsel. I think that this policy has been changed,
Mayor,
and we need
this
to.
policy was part of the agenda, which was posted on April 14th, and it's now April 19th. So we have 5 days' notice to the public about the move in the hour. And I'd also point out that any notice change in the sign-up time didn't prevent 10 other people from signing up for public comment today.
Why was it changed?
So that we
The
can
city
get-
manager adjusted the time for staff.
So that we could send comments to the mayor and commission before the meeting, because the cutoff time was 4 o'clock before, and we were getting, not being able to get the the minutes and copies of them to the mayor and commission. So we adjusted it by 1 hour, from 4 to 3.
But Mr. Lozano, I appreciate your, I would imagine, your advocacy for the golf course, if I'm probably correct, right? You want us in support?
That is correct.
And there are many folks that have emailed me directly in support of the golf course. The commission has been also sent various emails. There are plenty of people here in support of the golf course, and we do appreciate you coming out to, in favor of that. And we can acknowledge that and accept that. And
I was
I'm,
glad that Mr. Gonzalez.
we're not going to do that, Ron, we're not going to do this. This is improper. We have to follow the policies that we have in place. You're welcome to email me at a later time.
Well, that's not a policy that is effective.
I understand, but at this point, we're being disruptive, so we need to move on. All right. Item 2, presentation by Kirk
I think it's Caceres.
Caceres and Brian Miller from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration regarding the Adopt a Community Outreach Program. Gabe?
Mayor, we were asked by NOAA to make a brief presentation to the commission on one of their services, and so we gave them an opportunity to come before the mayor and commission today to talk about their program.
Good evening, City Commissioners, Mayor, City Manager, and ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kirk Caceres, meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Brownsville, also participating in the 35th class of the Leadership Harlingen, and a Harlingen resident. My colleague, Brian Miller, a lead forecaster in Brownsville as well. He is also my assistant for the Harlingen Adopt a Community, but his primary city is Hebronville. The National Weather Service in Brownsville serves the 8 counties of Deep South Texas and provides warnings and forecast responsibilities. We also have marine responsibilities out 60 nautical miles in the Gulf, and we provide aviation weather for all 3 Rio Grande Valley airports. The reason I'm here today was just to mention some of the services that we too provide free of charge, and we just want to let you know that we provide decision support services, Storm Ready, Skywarn, NWS chat, and outreach events. The Storm Ready is helping people prepare in the local communities for severe weather. The Skywarn program is a volunteer program where we train spotters to report severe weather. NWS chat is sort of like a messaging app where you can contact us 24/7, and we also participate in a wide range of outreach events. Again, the main reason I'm here is to talk about the Adopt a Community, which falls under the decision support services. And what we do is we provide forecasts for core partners, cities and county officials for impacts for weather, water, and climate purposes. And I've worked with the EMA director and Fire Chief Balderas and on several events. And several forecasters in the office have adopted different communities. For me, it's Harlingen. Others are Brownsville. We try to adopt communities that we serve. So real briefly, okay, this is an example of what we provided for Rio Fest last year. You may have received this in your email from Chief Balderas. This is we provide a detailed report every hour. You can request this, and this is for November 12th for Rio Fest. Again, we had provided information such as temperature, wind speed, gust, weather, precipitation, and we provided a summary of what the forecast is. Again, this is a point forecast. So for any kind of Harlingen event, we can provide this as a request. And this is I have one last slide. And this is from FAR. We also have Adopt a Community in FAR. This was their New Year's Eve fireworks back in 2020. And we also was able to give them a detailed temperature across the region of what to expect for people traveling to the city. We gave them a brief discussion of what to expect, including skies, winds, temperatures, and the confidence level. So again, I just wanted to bring this to your attention that we do provide this service and that you can reach out to us. We provide it 24/7.
Thank you for everything you do. I've seen these reports when we have weather events coming in for the county. I'm one of the attorneys for emergency management, and y'all's information is phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just, again, wanted to just let you know that you can request these, and we're trying to be more proactive, so that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
What do we have to do to become an adopted city community?
For the storm ready, I think most of the infrastructure is in place. I did talk to my supervisor, and Harlingen has a lot of the infrastructure in place. There's all kind of different requirements, which I believe you have, but Harlingen is not storm ready right now. It should be a small process to get that done, but when I spoke to my supervisor a few months back, he did say that Harlingen's close, but it's not there yet.
Okay, I'll reach out to you later.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Now, item 3, approval of minutes, the regular meeting of March 1st, 2023. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Take a motion to amend one small portion.
Okay.
I'll shoot that to you in an email. Essentially, what it is it's page 4, line 40. It says vote for 1. I believe it should say vote for -0-1. That's the only change. I'll shoot you an email, but other than that, I'll make the motion to approve, subject to the amendment.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4 is consent agenda. Do we have anything to pull out of the consent agenda?
I wanted to pull 4A, please, and then 4D, please. I'll make a motion to approve all other consent agenda items other than A and D.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4A, consideration and possible action to approve a request from BCFS Health and Human Services, Harlingen, to close the following streets for the National Child Abuse Prevention Spring Festival on Saturday, April 29, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at 1702 East Tyler Avenue.
The only comment I'd like to make to the PD and to city staff is there's 3 neighborhoods, for lack of a better term. There's a massive apartment complex, and there's an area with a bunch of duplexes and multi-family homes, and then you have a neighborhood. My only concern about closing 17th and Tyler is that what you're going to do is you're going to be driving down Tyler, you're going to pass 77, and normally the way you would get home is you'd take a right onto 17th Street. Now that you're blocked, you're going to have to go 2 blocks around. It's going to be a whole thing. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
So if we can just make sure we post sufficient notice, that's all I ask.
Yes, I'll make sure the staff goes out there and notifies everybody, including the apartment complex there, that area will be closed so they can reroute and come in off of the business.
Perfect, thank you.
All right.
I'll make the motion to approve consent item 4A.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And 4D, consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on second and final reading for a rezoning request from Office District to General Retail District for property legally described as the south 35 feet of Lot 2 and the west parts of Lot 2 and 3, except the first 115 feet, Block 5, Arroyo Estate Subdivision, located at the northeast corner of Lubbock and Jones Street.
On this one, if we could just take the vote, please, and I'll be voting against it.
Didn't we already, okay, no, all right, okay. So
The city attorney would have to read the
then
caption
we'd have to read the
again.
caption.
Yes.
Right.
Mark, would you like for me to read it? I've got it on my screen.
I think I've got it. Yeah. Ordinance number 23, an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Harlingen, rezoning from Office O District to General Retail GR District for a property legally described as the south 35 feet of Lot 2 and the west parts of Lots 2 and 3, except the first 115 feet, Block 5, Arroyo Estate Subdivision, providing for publication and ordaining other matters related to the foregoing.
I have a procedural question. We passed this the last meeting, and this is the second run. Is this open for discussion, or is this, because it doesn't say open for discussion or anything?
It says consideration and possible action.
Okay.
So, just so I understand, and the last time we voted, you voted against it?
Correct.
And so that doesn't just continue to reflect once we have it on consent, the prior vote? That's the only thing I'm.
No. If he wants to vote against and he wants to be on the record as against,
Okay.
it wouldn't be on the consent agenda. The consent agenda is only for unanimous, uncontested action.
Okay, so then in the future, if we can just not have those items on the consent, so that way we don't have to do this.
The only issue is then you would have to poll everyone to figure out who's going to vote for it and vote against it.
You've already voted.
It's a second.
Correct.
This is the second
I get that.
reading.
I get that. Unless someone changes their vote. Do it how you like. I wouldn't.
Okay.
I would stick the way.
Well, since Commissioner Lopez is making it difficult,
And
just to be efficient, if we have something that is, it passes, and there's a minority opposition, if we don't have it on the consent, then it gives an opportunity for a second vote, right? And you'd like to have your vote, because if not, you'll pull them out each time.
Correct.
So that way we avoid this, let's go ahead and do that.
and just recent memory says, I guess, I didn't realize there was one vote, but there was a 4-to-1 vote to approve the zoning change to
Right.
allow a restaurant in the medical district.
Correct, so it would be, you'd have it as an item, you wouldn't have it in a consent agenda. The consent agenda by definition is
Right.
everyone consents.
Because there was already, the votes were already there to pass. So, okay. So, having said all of that, thank you, and thank you, and thank you. Can we get a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve item number D.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
Let the record reflect that Commissioner Lopez has voted against item 4D. All right, moving on to new business. Item 5, consideration and possible action to approve the preliminary ranking for engineering services as recommended by the Evaluation Committee and authorize the city manager to negotiate and execute a contract for associated engineering services pursuant to the city's request for qualifications, number 2023-11, professional engineering design and environmental permitting for the Arroyo, Colorado hike and bike trail extension. Javier?
Yes, Mayor, City Commission. For the record, I'm Javier Mendez, the Parks and Rec Director. There is an error on the summary, and I'll explain right now. So we did get a grant from the RGV MPO through the TASTA grant program, and it's in the amount of $179,200. Our match is $37,632, and what it is for the design and permitting for the Phase 3, which is will connect McKelvey Park to Hugh Ramsey Park along the Arroyo. So we went out for an RFQ. And we had, it was 8 responses to the RFQ. The committee ranked them, and so the highest that we had is Hanson, ranked 287 points, which they were number 1, and then Half Associates was 286, they were second, and then CDJ Engineering is third. And so my summary, I reversed the first and second professional or engineering group. So we're requesting approval to accept the evaluation committee's recommendation. There is that option for the commission to entertain a interview with each of the top 3 the firms that were scored.
And this was yourself and Anna and Craig, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, which I think you guys are the experts, right? But
Okay,
I don't know if, does the commission have any concerns?
Yeah, I do. This would be McKelvey Park to where?
It would be from McKelvey Park to Hugh Ramsey.
Okay, and where is McKelvey Park?
McKelvey Park is off of Loop 49, well, on Business 77, where we have Blues on the Hill, the Arroyo lighting. And it'll
Right.
follow the Arroyo, I guess, east to Ed Carey Drive.
Okay, to Ed Carey Drive,
Going toward the airport.
yes. So that this would follow the Arroyo eastward?
Yes,
And this would cut through Parkwood and Treasure Hills?
correct.
And this would be people's backyards that you would seize through eminent domain?
It would be along the Arroyo, Commissioner.
Right.
It would be along the Arroyo, but this would still be in people's backyards. And so, civics class, Mr. Kemp, 1966.
20 years before I was born.
The laws still apply, counselor. I was offended back then as a, whatever, a 11, 12-year-old, that cities could take people's property and cities could build stuff right up to the edge of people's property. And I have gotten a lot of complaints and concerns and fears from people living in Parkwood and people living in Treasure Hills that do not want this to go through. And I will vehemently oppose it right here, right now. And should it ever come back, I will vehemently oppose it then and there. You're interfering with people's backyards where they can look into the Arroyo, where they don't have fences because their backyard abuts the Arroyo. So I'm totally against all of this from the get-go.
And Commissioner, I'd like to point out, this is just for engineering design. It's not actually for any construction.
I understand, but you got to stop at the beginning. That's usually the best place to stop.
So I will just say I haven't received, and I'm glad that you're bringing this up, Commissioner. I haven't received any responses or concerns or emails from anyone from the community. And had I received some, then I would have definitely wanted to address those issues.
So I shall have people direct their emails to you then.
Well, I trust that what you're saying is accurate, but most of the time, I'm just surprised because I get so many all the time. But how many backyards can you elaborate a little on what the commissioner's addressing that would really impact or change their property lines?
There is an image that I got
Nice.
of the alignment of the trail. And so some of the property already belongs to the state of Texas. There are some properties that, as Commissioner Mesmar mentioned, their properties go all the way out to the edge of the Arroyo or to the water's edge. Just depending on the alignment, I would guess maybe 20 lots, maybe, because we're going to have to go and cross, depending on the geographic area of the Arroyo, whether we have enough room on the side of the Arroyo to build a tray or not. But with the engineering, we're going to figure out how the alignment of the trail is going to go.
This is a preliminary phase, and
Yes.
if this is approved, what's the next step?
So if it is approved, then we would seek funding from an entity for the construction of the trail.
And is there any community outreach or requests for the consideration from the neighborhood on their thoughts?
We will have to approach the property owners since we may be going through their property. So we would have to acquire their property through easement or purchase.
And Mayor, one of the things that we can do is if this is approved, we can actually require the engineer, the consulting firm, to actually have outreach for those residents in that community.
I'm really, as you know, very supportive of the trails. I think that it is important for us to have those green spaces and to be promoting health and wellness, but I'm also share the commissioner's concerns on people's properties, right? We definitely don't want to be encroaching on individual rights and properties. However, if this can be done with, conditioned upon having that outreach and then having a discussion, obviously, after, before any action is taken, I think that would be a more responsible way of moving forward, to give those folks an opportunity to voice their concerns.
Right.
I'm not sure if there's any other questions that the commission has, concerns to add to that, because this is, what are the benefits? Can you share with us the benefits of moving forward with this project?
So the benefits, of course, it's grant funded, but we would make the connection, you know, as our trail master plan was approved, making the connection of the entire city to the Arroyo. And so we are considering applying for Phase 4 through TxDOT, through TASA also, to continue from Hugh Ramsey all the way to 509 along the Arroyo. And so we would have a connection from Dixieland all the way to 509. I can't remember the distance that we figured from Hugh Ramsey to 509 to tell you the total length of that trail. And the benefit, of course, is it's off system, so anybody gets on the trail at Dixieland, they can traverse the entire trail without having to cross any traffic or any street, which makes it safe for several, either cyclists or bikers, walkers or runners.
And this is in line with our goal of creating these opportunities for everyone in the community, right? So in a specific distance from everyone's home or work, to try
Correct.
to get them to a place where they can experience the outdoors and
Correct.
be outside and healthy.
The other thing, Mayor, if I may say, is that the benefit that we have is that a lot of our parks abut the Arroyo, so this trail will make that connection to several of our parks. So you can get on at Hugh Ramsey and just, either walk or ride your bike to, Dixieland Park.
Is there a drop dead date on this where we have to submit by, or we don't get the grants, or?
Well, the grants awarded, I don't know, Anna, do you recall the deadline on funding? Yeah, so.
What did she say?
I didn't hear anything.
A year.
What was it, a year? It's a year. 12 months.
From, when was the start date? I guess my question is this something maybe we could table till after this outreach that is being discussed?
I think that it would be, I would encourage the commission to go ahead and allow them to do take the first steps for the design and not have to wait on that, but condition it upon that the engineer has to do the outreach from the community, then report back to us, and that, the commission not move forward on the project until we have that information, so that the commission is well informed. I'm not sure, as a property owner in that area, how I would feel, but I know that I definitely would want their voices heard. This might raise property values, and some property owners may find that this is something that they want. I think it's all, this would be individually given an opportunity to voice their concerns, but I'd like to have Javier be able to move forward with it at this point, because it's not going to impact property lines. So I would encourage, if someone has a motion to move.
I have a question. I couldn't help but notice that the criteria is still the same that's been used in the past. And I believe I've asked Luis to change that up a bit. Because you guys are not, the criteria does not give any consideration for anybody that's in the valley. They might have a regional office, but their corporate office is in Houston. Where is HAV's corporate office?
I believe that's in Austin.
Austin, and I have it down for Houston. I know Hanson's out of Brownsville, Guzman Munoz, I want to say Weslaco, Mercedes, Brown and Leal, they're down on Jackson, but the others, I don't know. That, same thing goes with, Sam's, that's McAllen or Mission, that's in the valley. I would like to see us give a few points for those that are here in the valley. Otherwise, the halves will always rise to the top every time, and our tax funds, anything there is going to Houston, Austin, that area. So I believe I mentioned that to Louise a while back in passing. So I would really appreciate you start looking into this and actually formulate a different criteria.
Okay.
We can do that, Commissioner.
Could you send us that map, Javier? Because I'm looking at the tax assessor's website, and you could essentially draw this thing out where it only cuts across one person's property line, and it's some entity. It's the 3NS Real Estate LLC who owns it, but you can do it where you avoid everyone's property line, Commissioner Mesmar. And if I
Can we see the
recall
map?
correctly,
Can you bring us a map?
all of the
What do you
land,
got? Yeah.
all of the houses are pretty high up, so even from the pathway, you wouldn't be able to see into people's backyards. It's very similar to where like the thicket is, that area. You can't see into people's backyards. They're so high. Yeah, exactly. You know what, yeah, then I'll make a motion to table this for one meeting. Commissioner Mesmer, if you wouldn't mind sharing those emails or concerns you've had, so the rest of the commission can see them and review them?
I shall do that.
And then if you can get this map to everyone, and any other information to this commission, so we can kind of put our heads together.
Okay.
Oh, there you go, I'm sorry.
So there's a motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Javier. Item 6, consideration and possible action to approve a professional service agreement with Hanson Professional Services for the design, planning, and environmental permitting of the Kayak launching project, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement. Javier?
Yes, Mayor, City Commission, again, my name is Javier Mendez, the Parks and Rec Director. So this contract here is for the design and planning for the Kayak launch project. And so we did receive funding from Texas Parks and Wildlife. I don't recall the first amount of money that we got, but when we went out for RFQs and we started negotiating, getting proposals, all the proposals, of course, were higher than the funding from Texas Parks and Wildlife. So we went back to them and asked them if there was an opportunity for us to increase the funding, and they said yes. So what they did was they provided enough funding to contract Hanson Engineering to do the planning and design of the kayak launch. So after we get the plans and permits, then we, of course, we'd go back to either Parks and Wildlife or anybody else for the funding for the construction of the project.
Does anyone have any questions?
The project will be at McCullough Park, which is at the intersection of the Arroyo and Ed Carey.
I think it's a great job, guys. That's going to be pretty exciting, right? I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Javier. Item 7, consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading to abandon and vacate a 1-foot non-access easement being 0.007 acre of land out of Lot 6, Morning Dove Estates, Phase 2A subdivision located at the northeast corner of Haverford Boulevard and Tucker Road. Hello. Hi.
Hello. Good evening, Mayor. and
Joel, yes. I was like, Javier.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Joel Olivo, Assistant Planning Director for the record. For this particular item, the applicant is requesting to abandon a 1-foot non-access easement on the subject property to allow for a side entry garage on this property. This is the location of the subject property. As you can see, it's on the corner of Haverford Boulevard and Tucker Road. And the property has approximately 66 feet of frontage on Tucker Road and 286 feet of frontage on Haverford Boulevard. And the reason that the applicant is requesting to abandon the easement is because he'd like to have a side entry garage, and he feels it would be safer to have the access from Haverford Boulevard rather than having it from Tucker Road, which has more traffic. Both Haverford and Tucker Road are local streets, but Haverford currently dead ends at the drainage ditch, so that's his intent to remove the access easement at this point. The city engineer has reviewed the request and has recommended approval. Staff is recommending approval of the request.
All right. Any questions? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's it.
Yes,
All right.
please read
An
the
ordinance
caption.
abandoning the 1 foot feet non-access easement described as a .007 acre of land out of Lot 7, Morningdove Estates, Phase 2A, subdivision located at the northeast corner of Haverford Boulevard and Tucker Road.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8, consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading for an SUP to allow an unmanned battery storage facility in general retail district to be located along the east side of Loop 499, being 277 feet north of Grimes, bearing a legal description of Tract A out of the proposed Citrus Flats subdivision, being 8.27 acres out of Block 8, Harlingen Land and Water Company subdivision.
Mayor, this item was tabled at the last meeting, so we'd have to bring it off the table.
Okay. Do we have well, prior to, okay, yes, do we have a motion to take this off the table?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, I wanted to invite Eric Ziege from EDC to say a few words.
Mayor and City Commission, my name is Eric Ziege, and I am president of the board of the Harlingen Economic Development Corp. I'm here this evening to express my support for the Black Mountain Energy Citrus Flats Battery Storage Project. The Harlingen Economic Development Corp. and its board of directors recommend approval of the specific use permit as required by the City of Harlingen. At the Harlingen Economic Development Corp., we are committed to supporting growth and development that benefits our community. Black Mountain Energy will be investing over $100 million in the community and generating significant property taxes for Harlingen. The battery storage facility proposed could enhance the EDC's plan to expand industrial growth. A dispatchable source on the local grid helps to improve the transmission conditions associated with regional growth in wind, solar projects, ensuring the quality of power remains high and attractive to a growing base of industrial consumers. In addition to the residential neighborhoods positively impacted by the improvements to the grid when down or failing, it may also support the call center facility on Grimes Avenue that accommodates a large employment. Thank you for consideration in approving the SUP and for your continued efforts with the development of Harlingen.
Thank you.
Thank you. On this project, I asked Robert to give me a high and low on the taxes over a 10-year period. The highs that the city will collect is 6.2 million. The low is 4.5. So it's a pretty big chunk of change compared to what we're getting right now.
And if I recall, I said that it had been sitting there vacant with no option for 18 years,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Is that
Yeah.
right?
Not on the
Yes.
market.
So I know the real estate agent that was, I believe she's present right now, but that was very eye-opening to know that sounds like a wonderful opportunity for Harlingen to do something in that area, and we don't want to sit another 18 years without doing something. So do we have any questions?
And I'll make them.
Well, I requested some information and I got it. Just as an FYI, if I'm reading this correctly, for the first 10 years, the city of Harlingen will collect about 3.8 million in revenues. And then from year 11 to 30 is 2.6. So that's pretty significant when we stop to think about what we hadn't collected. All right, so and to replace this revenue, it's gonna be a little, we're still working on trying to get a lot of things done, I do realize that. So, we gotta move forward on this one.
And if I recall, Daniel, you brought up, the farmland currently brings in what, 1,300 or 3,300?
As poultry.
Yeah, something like that. And we could bring in millions, of course, as the equipment depreciates on accounting rules, then it's lower in value, it brings in lower tax dollars, but as they pointed out last time, that as they replace the battery units with newer or more efficient battery units, then the tax base goes up again, and each unit will then be depreciated accordingly so, but still, it brings in tax dollars and, what's that?
Far more than what we're getting.
Times a couple
Far
decimal
more.
points.
Did you want to say a few words? I'm sorry.
No, just here to answer any questions.
Dan Ditto couldn't make it, so, I'm sorry, your name, sir?
Yeah, Jackson Hughes, project developer at Black Mountain.
Yeah, with Black Mountain. So he's here because Dan couldn't be here today. Dan Ditto.
Correct.
I'll make the motion to approve the SUP.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Welcome to Harlingen. Item 9, consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading. Oh, I needed to have you read the,
We tabled this, right?
do I need to, but
Yeah.
I think he needs to read it again.
The caption?
Yeah.
All
This is,
right.
this is number 9.
No, number 8.
Just want to make sure
No.
we don't have to come back and
Number 8.
Number
revisit.
9. Number 9er.
Number 9.
Well.
No, it's number 8.
Number 8.
No?
Well.
Oh, we're talking
That was the one
about-
we just voted on.
Yeah, because we.
just voted on it.
All right, let's.
I know,
let's-
I know,
but
but
he
he
didn't
didn't
read
read
the
the caption.
All right. An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, ordinance number 16-8 of the City of Harlingen, to issue a special use permit to allow an unmanned battery storage facility in the general retail GR district located on the east side of the loop, 499 being 277 feet north of Grimes Road, bearing a legal description of Tract A out of the proposed Citrus Flats subdivision, being 8.27 acres out of Block 8, Harlingen Land and Water Company subdivision.
Make the motion to approve this SUP.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, yes, that's legal. Item 9, consideration and possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading for an SUP to allow an adult business in general retail district located at 405 West Harrison Avenue, Suite A, bearing a legal description of Lot 10, Block 84, Harlingen Town Site. This was also tabled. Do we have a motion to take this?
I'll make a motion to take it off the table.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. It is now off the table. Do we have, I know that we tabled this last time. We were going to have the chief, if he's there.
Yes, he's right
Yes.
here. He has the information that you said you
Wonderful.
requested.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Mayor, Commissioners, what you're looking at is, these are, the top page is the actual reports made on the 400 block of West Harrison for the last 2+ years. Except for a couple of them were picked up East Harrison. But a couple that stand out, one is the sexual assault, and I looked up that case. It was a report made by a a female that she had been sexually assaulted by a known male, but refused to identify him and didn't want anything done. Even though we tried to follow up, there was no follow-up on that case, and that case was inactivated. Nothing really to say, whether it was just that location where she was at, or that's where she made the report from. The aggravated assault with a deadly weapon was related to El Cisne Bar, which is 2 doors down from the location. And then the others are just very minor offenses from there. A couple of public intoxications from the bar again. The second page are calls for service specifically at this location for the last 2+ years. And the suspicious activity one was an attempted burglary. Nothing actually got in. The theft was a stolen license plate. The FD response was a medical response. The flag down was just a verbal disturbance. And then the 911 hang-up, we never could figure out what went on there. That was what we call unable to locate. And then the request officer was a disabled vehicle. Overall, there's not a lot of incidents around there for the last, again, 2+ years, but you can see in 2021, there's a lot more incidences. 22, it kind of calmed down, then there's only been a couple this year. So I think 2021 was just a busy year for us. We had more incidences going on. There's nothing that I have there that I got to report, really, unless you have any further questions.
Yeah, I have no other data from any other block in any other street in Harlingen. On the bell curve, is this a teeny tiny amount? Is this an average amount, or is this an excessive amount of activity?
To me, it's a small amount.
Okay, this is small.
Right.
Well, you all lead a busy life.
Yes.
So I think, Chief, there was some concern, and I think the commission didn't want to act on it without having you present, just because of the type of business that was proposed to be opening in that area. Do you think that this would add to or take away, or does it have any impact at all with the department's ability to ensure that area remains where there's not as much activity? Because that's what it looks like, right? That it's gone down significantly.
Correct.
Would this establishment have any impact, in your opinion?
Yeah, I have no reason to believe it would have any significant impact.
Okay, I think that was the question.
Okay, I do have a question. Did anybody measure the steps from that location to the church?
No, I did not.
That would not be for the chief.
No, we did not.
Any particular reason why?
Any other questions for the chief?
No, I'm
Okay,
fine.
thank you, chief. What?
As I understand it, the measurement,
There's a
Mark?
bar right there.
yeah, Mark, if I recall from what I've read, is that it has to be 1,500 feet if it's a sexually oriented business, such
Correct.
as, let's say, a gentleman's club. That's when the feet would, because I did the same thing, because I looked at it from my park, which is Guterres Park, is like 345 feet off of Google Earth, but I don't think the feet part applies if it's an adult
business
business.
as opposed to
Right,
an
that's
SOB.
correct.
That's correct.
Okay, but what we're looking at here is, the name originally was gonna be XXX. What does that stand for?
Well,
And how
actually-
is anybody that's driving by, how are they gonna perceive that?
Yes, please explain what XXX means.
Well, actually, the applicant has changed the name to the Hush Club, as she described it, so the name has changed at this point. It's been approved by the attorney, so.
But the intent was there.
Right.
Okay. So this area, right now, obviously, there's not much going on as far as illegal activity, the public intoxication and so on down the line. All that I see here is going to be a potential, is going to bring in more issues, okay? I, for one, don't care for it, all right? What I read here on the packet several weeks ago was well, it might not be considered a novelty store or however they want to perceive that, but you're still leading the public to go out there and do their thing, and it's too close to the church. We had a pastor here 2 weeks ago, and I've gotten calls. Today is Wednesday, so they have service. Otherwise, the same way we saw people here, the same way it would have been packed. Don't want it, gentlemen.
So, you know, this is not my cup of tea. And I find this vile, but it is legal in Harlingen. It's legal in the state. I don't know if there's a better location for this or not, but they will bring in sales tax dollars. We have, you know, I hope they don't bring in much. But we have approved these types of businesses, so you know, I mean, morally, this is reprehensible. But we don't vote on morals here. We vote on legal or not.
So I'll just add, I don't have a personal opinion on the matter, but I did have some concerns regarding safety, and if it was going to impact our department, because we want to always support the men and women of the Harlingen Police Department, but the chief has explained that this would have no impact. It seems to be relatively low incidents that have occurred in that area. I do think, and this is for the young lady that's wanting to open the establishment, I think that you have every right to open whatever kind of business that you want, should the city, unless it's, you know, a business that we would have to say could not be within the city limits. However, I don't think it is the right location for your business, but that's a personal choice. I think that as a consumer, I would be hesitant to walk into your business because of the location and where it's at. And so as a businesswoman, I would encourage you to look for another location, just because we want all our small businesses to be successful. I just don't think that area would be in your best interest. However, that is a personal choice. I don't think that this commission is here to regulate what kind of businesses come and go. If we were to do that, there are some businesses in town that sell the same products and same type of merchandise in our community, and it would be unfair to not allow one when we have others that are already in the community. I don't, my opinion on whether it's immoral or any of those, I don't think that's relevant, but I think as a commission, it was a little disturbing to see on after I gave it some thought and I looked at the conditions called upon by the planning and zoning, saying you had to have this percentage of this type of inventory. All of that seemed very excessive, and it just made me wonder if we did that to other businesses that are in our community that sell the same thing. So we have to really think as a commission what kind of commission we want to be. Are we regulating business, or are we following the ordinances that we have on the books? Because that's what we ask from our planning and zoning, to follow the ordinances. So those are my concerns. Right. It's just, it's a hard one, but again, it's a business owner's prerogative what they want to sell, as long as it is legal and allowed within our community. So, any other questions?
Well, I know the applicant's here, could we give her,
Yes.
Is there anything she wants to say?
I'm sure she does. Thank you, Joel. If you can please just state your name again for the record.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. My name's, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is April Lozano. I am the future business owner of this adult novelty business studio. I'm also an advocate on preventing HIV and AIDS prevention and bringing awareness to our community. A person who never made a mistake, never tried anything new. Good business leaders create a vision, articulate the vision, passionately own the vision, and relentlessly drive it to completion, and have a safe haven where people can not only shop, but talk about safe sex, access, resources. That is important to me. I am more than willing to make or accommodate any changes if needed. And my landlord's here as well of the historic building, if you need to speak with her. And I also have 22 petitioner signatures with me if needed. And thank you, and God bless you guys for taking the time and listening to me. I appreciate you guys.
I had a question, like, because I was, why did you choose this location? Like, was it, like, I'm just curious.
It was definitely like in the budget.
Okay.
And I saw like, I do see an eyesore when I come into the downtown area, so I definitely want to uplift it and bring beauty back into downtown Harlingen, because the building is, it just needs remodeling on the outside, you know, just make it look more decent as you're driving by. It's not gonna have legs or anything like that coming out of it. Okay, guys, don't get scared. I did rethink about the name. I'm very new to this. I did move from San Antonio here, so I'm just trying to bring a little something so everybody can just feel comfortable when they shop in here. It's not gonna, like I said, like an eyesore. It's gonna be very decent, nothing out loud, lights, everything. No, it's real calm, just something, you know, hush. So it's called the Hush Shop.
So I will say, I think that at the Bahia Vista Mall, if you have had an opportunity to go out there, I know that they had been working with different tenants on rent, and there's, from what I gather, there's negotiation, which sounds like is what drew you to this location.
Yes, ma'am.
Just putting that out there for you. Because I can understand as a small business owner that you want to ensure that expenses are low and investment is low, but if you don't have anyone coming into the store, then it doesn't matter how cheap the rent is, right? If you don't have
Yes,
any
ma'am.
sales. But
I agree.
any other questions?
No. What did you settle on for the name, ma'am?
The Hush Shop?
The Hush Shop?
Yes, sir.
And so, any other questions for the applicant? No? Okay. Do you have any questions, Reen?
I'm assuming you're signing a lease or something, or how's it working?
Yes, sir.
For how long? If you don't mind me asking.
It goes month to month.
Oh, okay. So you can try it off here, and then if, if it does well, you can maybe look at like where the mayor said, the mall or something.
Yes,
like
sir,
this.
definitely.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you guys.
Joel, so should this SUP be, it's an SUP, right? Should it be approved? What would be considered a violation for it to be revoked?
Basically, if they weren't to comply with these conditions that were listed, which they got to be 60% of sales must be clothing, and they got to provide, of course, surveillance, and of course, they have to comply with the requirements from the appropriate departments. Any deviation from that, it could be possibly be revoked.
Who monitors that?
We would monitor it, the planning department would monitor that.
Are those conditions imposed on any other business in this community?
They have been opposed for bars. We
Okay.
had a similar type business where they had to submit an audit for that same type of use. They had to do an audit every year, and then they later came back to the commission to remove that audit since it was determined it wasn't their sales weren't more than that percentage for that type of business. So those conditions have applied for other business in the past.
Okay. I was just curious. I didn't.
And Mayor, the reason for these is not to regulate the business, it's to basically to ensure that they're operating as an adult business, not a sexually oriented business.
Okay.
Because they don't meet those requirements, and the city commission isn't giving them authorization to operate as a sexually oriented business.
And this is
This is
these are
designed,
those.
right, the
Okay.
60% clothing is primarily non-sexually oriented, so, right. But
kind of
it is what it
clothing,
is, right?
it's-
So,
They're not selling like overalls and,
but it's still clothing item.
okay. I was just curious. All right.
How many people or how many businesses opposed it?
During the public hearing before the Planning and Zoning Commission, we had two property owners that opposed the type of business, basically the type of clientele.
This was on the same block.
Right,
Did
right.
anybody oppose it, or did anybody reach out to the people on Tyler?
We notified, as per state law and city ordinance, the property owners within a 200-foot radius, and we didn't receive any objections from those property owners.
Where would the parking for this,
The parking would be on street since it's technically grandfathered for the parking, since it's a similar type of use that was there, was similar in the type that it's a retail type of use. And in the code of ordinance, under the non-conforming section, it says if it's a similar type of use, it would be grandfathered with the parking that's currently there in place. So since it was a retail, and this is a retail type of establishment, the parking on the street would count as a required parking.
Is there any other discussion? Any questions? Do we have a motion?
A reading?
Or-
Read the
Yes.
ordinance? Okay.
Some
An
of
ordinance
the rules.
amending the Code of Ordinances, ordinance number 16-8 of the City of Harlingen, to issue a special use permit, SUP, to allow an adult business, adult novelty store in a general retail GR district located at 405 West Harrison, Suite A, bearing a legal description of Lot 10, Block 84, Harlingen Original Town Site Subdivision, applicant April Rezone.
So I'd entertain a motion to approve or oppose.
Yeah, I don't want to, but it's a legal business, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
opposed?
I didn't hear you, Danny. No, okay. So there's three, and so the motion fails. I'm sorry. Okay. I thought you had it the other way around. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And to the applicant, and that was a little confusing, but the request has been denied by the commission. We do wish you success in your future endeavors. Unfortunately, this won't be one of those, but thank you. All right. Thank you, Joel. Item 10, consideration and possible action to approve or reject bids received for the construction of the Harlingen Multimodal Transit Terminal under RFP number 2023-06.
Mayor, members of the City Commission, the city went out for bids for the transit multimodal. Our budget for the project was $4.6 million. The most acceptable proposal was from NM Contracting, which came in at $8.2 million. We are over budget by $3.6 million, so we are recommending that we reject all the bids at this point.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Item 11, public hearing and possible action to adopt an ordinance on first reading for a special use permit to allow an unmanned battery storage facility in general retail district located at a property along the south side of Lincoln Avenue, approximately 300 feet east of Tucker Road, bearing a legal description of 4.4750 acres out of 5.230 acres out of Block 2, Howard Dixieland Heights, number 1 subdivision.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. The applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow a battery storage facility on the subject property located on the south side of Lincoln Avenue, east of Tucker Road. This is the subject property, and this is an aerial view of the property. The subject property is 3.5 acres. You can see it's surrounded by commercial use to the north and to the east. And of course, you have a mixture of institutional use and residential use to the south. This is actually an extension of what's currently there. The applicant was recently approved a battery storage facility back in May of 2022, and they're proposing another one on this subject property. This is a site plan they submitted. As you can see, it shows a substation to the northeast part of the property, the battery units. They are proposing a detention pond in the rear of the property, and they're proposing a opaque fence around the perimeter of the property. Staff is recommending they provide an 8-foot solid wall along the front of the property along with a landscape buffer. This is the street view. You can see it's currently vacant, and this is one that was approved back in May of 2022. This is a rendering of what the proposed battery storage facility would look like with a landscaping buffer and the 8-foot solid wall. And these are the battery units. The units are approximately 8 feet wide, 20 feet in length, and 6 feet in height. And property owners within a 200-foot radius were notified. Staff received no objections. The appropriate city departments reviewed the item and reported no objections, subject to complying with appropriate codes. There was a public hearing conducted before the P&Z Commission, and no concerns were addressed. Excuse me. Staff and P&Z Commission are recommending approval subject to the applicant installing an 8-foot solid wall along Lincoln Avenue and providing landscaping with an irrigation system and compliance from the appropriate departments. I'll take any questions. The applicant is also present for questions.
So the punchline is, they're building.
Right.
Right? They're in construction. I've gotten a few phone calls saying it looks nice. But they want to expand the property.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry, Commissioner, you had a question? Okay. I'm sure it's a great one.
It was the great answer.
Okay. Is any discussion?
I just wanted to mention, like, I've spoken to David. He's been very forthcoming with all the information. Like, I was, he came to me back in May, and we looked over it. We approved the one in May, like what I just mentioned. And even for this one, I met with him a couple weeks ago, and he told me about the plan that they were doing, and they've been great. He's been real good at keeping with the neighbors around the surrounding area, talking to them, get their approval. In fact, for the one in May, I remember there was some public, some of my constituents were kind of worried about it. So I asked him if he would be willing to have like a mini town hall there at the location, so he could address any of the concerns that some of the residents had. And he was more than willing to do it. He went there, and I went there, and we had some people that came by. He answered every single question that these people had. He was able to relieve a lot of the fears or worries that these people had. So he's been really good with us, and I highly recommend that we approve this second location that they're planning to build.
I guess one of my biggest concerns about this is right, as I understand, it's going to be right across from where we're going to put the new academy, where the new academy is being built, right? And we're starting to develop that area. So do we want this right on the main road that we're going to be using and developing for this type of stuff? When we compare this one to the one we just approved right now, give me 1 second, I think the last one we were getting about between 4 to 6 million. I think you had 3 million, right, Commissioner Morales? This one's gonna be like in the 100,000s. The high that Robert gave me is 534,000 for property taxes over 10 years, and then the lows of 400,000, right? So in my mind, I have to look at that, and I wonder, is that the best use of that property when we are developing your district, right? And I wanna make sure that the way we develop your district is as beneficial to the constituents as possible. So,
Yeah, but at the same time, it's already right next to another transformer that's right there. So I don't think that many businesses want to be located right next to a transformer in that area. So, and I think any other, say, development that we get in that area would actually benefit from that from maybe if we have another, God forbid we have another freeze or something like that. I believe this would be able to help out, no? So this would also benefit some of the future development that we may have in that area.
maybe what we can do is just table the item for right now. Let me meet with David, and you and I can meet with him. He can answer all my questions and concerns, and then we can put it on for the next.
Or he's right there if you want to ask him any questions right now, or did you want to do that privately, or?
I prefer just to ask him separately.
Okay.
All right. Make a motion to table this item.
This evening, I did bring tax numbers and revenue numbers, if you're open to hearing it. Commissioner Lopez.
Yeah. On this one, I want to see what we're doing also with the city, with our own plan as well. So there's a few more questions I have, both from city and from y'all. So if we can just table this for now. Make a motion to table.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Opposed.
Aye. I'll table it.
Okay, so we are going to table this. I echo Commissioner Pettis's comments. I know that, I remember when you went out there to meet with the constituents in my district. I live there, and so I was a little concerned about it, and the Commissioner told me your plans, and I know that you have been a good community partner, and hopefully we can continue to work with you. I think you can meet with these guys rather quickly, put it on the next meeting so we can move forward. Okay? Thank you so much. So that was 11? Is that
Yes.
right? Okay. Item 12 is public hearing and possible action to adopt an ordinance on first reading for an SUP to allow an event center with on-site consumption of alcohol beverages in a general retail district located at 1514 South 77 Sunshine Strip, Suite 10, bearing a legal description of Lot 2, Block A, Treasure Hills Plaza Shopping Center.
Mayor, Commissioners, the applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow an event center with alcohol consumption out of an existing 2,000 square foot suite that's located in the Treasure Hills Plaza. This is a subject property. As you can see, it's located on the corner of Sam Houston Drive and 77 Sunshine Strip. And this is an aerial view of the subject plaza. You can see it's surrounded by mostly commercial use. However, you have multifamily use to the west and to the east. And of course, you have the UPS customer center to the south. Within the plaza, you have a Spectrum that's to the north, and of course to the south, you have the Bingo Ranch, and then you have a restaurant, and then to the west, you have some home health offices. And this is a street view from the parking lot. This is a subject suite. It'd be known under the name of R&R Event Center. The hours of operations would be from Monday through Sunday from 2 p.m. to 12 midnight. Although the applicant projects that the events will mostly be on the weekends and after 6 p.m. This is a site plan they submitted. And a floor plan, the occupancy would be limited to 80 persons. Building, fire, health, and police have reviewed the request and reported no objections. We did notify the property owners within a 200-foot radius, and staff received no objections. A public hearing was also conducted by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and there was no objections as well. Staff is recommending approval subject to the occupancy be limited to 80 persons. They got to comply with the noise ordinance. They have to comply with the smoking regulations, and of course, comply with the requirements from the appropriate departments. I'll take any questions, and the applicant is present for questions.
Thank you, Joel. Does anyone have any questions for Joel or the applicant? Okay. At this time, we'll open it up for a public hearing. Is there anyone that wishes to speak for or against the adoption of this ordinance? Having no one here to speak for or against, I'll close the public hearing at this time and ask the city attorney to read the caption.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, ordinance number 16-8 of the City of Harlingen, to issue a special use permit, RSC, to Araceli Rodriguez to allow an alcohol event center with on-site consumption of alcohol in a general retail GR district located at 1514 South 77 Sunshine Strip, Suite 10, bearing a legal description of Lot 2, Block A, Treasure Hills Plaza Shopping Center.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, public hearing and possible action to adopt an ordinance on first reading for an SUP to allow an adult business bar in a general retail district located at 1226 Morgan Boulevard, bearing a legal description of lots 36 through 39, Block 1, Del Mar, Unit Number 2, and Joel?
Mayor, Commissioners, the applicant is requesting a special use permit to allow a bar lounge out of an existing 3,400 square foot suite that's located in a commercial plaza that's on the corner of Grimes and Morgan Boulevard. This is a subject property, and this is an aerial view of the subject property. You can see it's mainly surrounded by commercial use to the north, and you have an institutional use to the south, you have office use to the west, and you have some residential use to the east. This is the street view. It's going to be known under the name of Drink Up. The hours of operations would be from Monday through Sunday from 2 p.m. to 12 midnight. And they're proposing under a mixed beverage license. 34 parking spaces are required, and they're provided in the common parking area. This is the site plan they submitted. The Building, Fire, Health, and Police Department have reviewed the request and reported no objections. We notified the property owners in a 200-foot radius. Staff received no objections, along with a public hearing, which was conducted by the Planning and Zoning Commission. There was no concerns addressed. Staff is recommending approval subject to the applicant maintaining the proper permits. They have to comply with the required parking. They have to provide video surveillance for the 30-day retention of the video, comply with the requirements from the appropriate departments. The hours would be limited from 12 to 2 a.m. every day. The SUP is going to be limited for 1 year. After the 1 month prior to the anniversary date, they have to reapply for the special use permit. This condition was actually implemented by the P&Z Commission. And of course, they have to provide a licensed security guard during peak hours of operation. I'll take any questions. The applicant is also present for questions.
Well, what was there before?
That used to be Holiday Line Liquor and Wine. Liquor store.
And there's apartments right behind there, right? Like, right behind?
Yes, yes, there is.
And there's no restrictions that city has so close to people's homes?
No, there would only be a restriction. There's a distance requirement from a church, school, or hospital of 300 feet measured from front door to front door, from front door to front door.
There's been a liquor store there,
There's
right?
been a
Was
liquor
that an old Feldman's at one time?
I think it was Holiday Liquors, I believe, or it could have been Feldman's.
It was Feldman.
Okay, yeah, it's Feldman's.
So-
And then there's a laundromat there that I guess
Right.
is no longer in
There's
business.
currently a barber shop and a tattoo parlor in that plaza
Right,
there.
right. And then that school is there where they
Right.
train people to weld and whatnot there.
So there's a young lady there that operates that barber shop that I've met over the course of this last year, and does really amazing work with autistic kids. It's called the Bat Cave or the Bat Shop or something like that. Does she know that this is going to open right there, and how is this going to impact her business, if at all? Do we know?
That I do not know. I don't know. We did notify the property owners in a 200-foot radius, and we didn't.
She doesn't own, she
Yeah.
rents. Would she have been notified?
She would not have been notified, correct?
Okay. So that's a concern for me, because she treats a specific population, autistic children, and over my conversations with her, she has said that, routine is important, things that they're just used to, and she has a lot of success there. She does something that I don't think that anybody else in the community does. When we notify, we only notify owners, and so do you know if that went to her shop or it went somewhere else, the notification?
It would just have gone to the property owner. I don't believe it went to her shop unless
Okay.
the owner notified her.
I don't know. I mean, I get that was there before. That's just my only concern, just because of the type of business that's there.
Right.
I don't know if anyone has any other questions. Okay, so at this time, we'll open it up for a public hearing. Is there anyone that wishes to speak for or against the adoption for or against this establishment?
Good evening, Mayor, City Commission. Just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Christina Mendez. I am the current owner of Drink Up LLC. I am not new to business or running a business in Harlingen or in La Feria, Texas. Just wanted to introduce myself and thank you for the opportunity to open a new business in the city of Harlingen. Look forward to working with the community. I'm not new to the community, so I just wanted to introduce myself, and if you had any questions, I would be available.
Have you spoken with the girl next door?
No, the tattoo place, the girl has been there, but I have not met yet the girl from the Batcave. But again, I would introduce myself. We have sent letters to everybody in the community, in the surrounding area, through the TABC, because TABC also requires that by law. So I did do that and reached out to the owners, and we didn't get any negative feedback.
Thank you so much. Okay. Does anybody have questions for the applicant? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak for or against? Having no one else to speak, we'll close the public hearing at this time, and I'll ask the city attorney to read the caption.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, ordinance number 16-8 of the City of Harlingen, to issue a special use permit, SUP, to Christina Mendez to allow a bar in a general retail GR district located at 1226 Morgan Boulevard, bearing a legal description of lots 36 to 39, Block 1, Delmar 2 subdivision.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. please reach out to the lady. Thank you. All right. Item 14, public hearing and possible action to adopt an ordinance on first reading for an SUP to allow an adult business tattoo studio in general retail district located at 602 South F Street, Suite D, bearing a legal description of lots 1 through 4, West Harlingen addition. What?
Mayor, Commissioners, the applicant's requesting a special use permit to allow a tattoo studio out of an existing 600 square foot suite that's located in Discount Plaza. This is the subject property. You can see it's located on the corner of Wright and F Street. And this is an area view of the subject property plaza. You can see it's surrounded by mostly commercial use. You do have single-family residential use to the west of the property. This is a street view. You're looking at it from Wright Street. The proposed business will operate under the name of Blood Money, Inc., and the hours of operation would be Monday through Saturday from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Property owners within a 200-foot radius were notified. Staff received no objections. We also, public hearing was also conducted by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and there was no concerns addressed during the meeting. Staff and P&Z are recommending approval subject to the applicant maintaining the required permits. They got to maintain the parking. They got to provide video surveillance for the 30-day retention of the video. Of course, compliance with the requirements from the appropriate city departments. Take any questions. I believe the applicant is present for questions.
Thank you.
Question number one, that particular, the surveillance video for 30 days, that can be seen by our police department at any time, correct?
That's correct.
You didn't have any objections whatsoever from any of the neighbors, any
No, sir. We did it.
residents?
The 26 property owners received a notice, and we received no objections. And there was no objections during the public hearing as well.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. At this time, we'll open up for public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak for or against this operation of this establishment, or the opening, sorry? Having no one here to speak, we'll close the public hearing. Ask the city attorney to read the caption.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, ordinance number 16-8 of the City of Harlingen, to issue a special use permit, SUP, to Demas Rivas to allow an adult business tattoo studio in a general retail GR district located at 602 South F Street, bearing a legal description of lots 1 to 4, West Harlingen addition.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Rivas. No worries. Item 15, public hearing and possible action to adopt an ordinance on first reading for a rezoning request from Light Industry District to General Retail District for property bearing a legal description of Tract C, Boyce, Tract number 26, subdivision located along the north side of Wilson Road, approximately 1,800 feet west of U.S. Expressway 77.
Mayor, Commissioners, the applicant is requesting to rezone the subject property from Light Industry District to General Retail District to allow for a mixed-use development considering of commercial and multifamily use. This is a subject property. You can see it's on the north side of Wilson Avenue, west of Expressway 77. This is an aerial view of the subject property. As you can see, the property is currently vacant. It has 333 feet of frontage on Wilson Road and a depth of about 1,280 feet at its longest point. The surrounding land use, as you can see, there's aloe farms to the east. You have the school district receiving office to the west. You have a barbecue restaurant further west. To the south, you have the Dollar General. Right adjacent to the Dollar General, there's a commercial plaza that's under construction. This is a street view showing the property currently vacant. And future land use plan shows this area as institutional use. Although it's not consistent with the future land use plan, it is consistent with the surrounding zoning and land use to the west of the property and to the south of the property, and consistent with the land use to the east of the property. We did notify the property owners within a 200-foot radius. Staff received no objections. Again, the public hearing was conducted by the Planning and Zoning Commission, and there was no concerns addressed at the meeting. Staff and P&Z are recommending approval of the request. I'll take any questions, and the applicant is present for questions.
What do they intend to do here?
It's going to be a mixed-use development. They're proposing to have commercial along the frontage and then multifamily in the back of the property.
So like an apartment complex in the back and then like a couple shops in the front?
Correct, yes, more or less.
Have you guys seen any designs for this?
We have not seen any designs at this point, no.
Did they tell you what type of shops they're looking for?
I think the
They didn't
applicant
state, but
said
I guess.
Is the applicant here? I'm sorry.
Is the applicant present?
No, I don't believe he is. I thought he was.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Well, at this time, we'll open it up for a public hearing. Is there anyone wishing to speak for or against? Having no one to speak for or against, we'll close the public hearing. Ask the city attorney to read the caption.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Harlingen, rezoning from light industry allied to general retail GR district for a property bearing a legal description of Tract C, Boyce Tract number 26 subdivision located along the north side of Wilson Road, approximately 1,800 feet west of Expressway 77, providing for publication and ordaining other matters related to the foregoing.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item 16, public hearing and possible action to adopt an ordinance on first reading for rezoning request for multifamily residential district and general retail district for planned development district for multifamily and commercial purposes for 12.99 acres out of Block 92, the Lansing Hill Subdivision located on the west side of Ed Carey Drive, approximately 2,039 feet south of U.S. Expressway 83.
Mayor, Commissioners, the applicant is requesting to rezone the subject property from a multifamily and general retail district to planned development to allow for a mixed-use development which would consist of multifamily and commercial use. This is the subject property. You can see it's located on the west side of Ed Carey Drive, south of Lamb Avenue. And this is an aerial view of the subject property. You can see it's currently vacant. They're proposing a subdivision under the name of Carey Estates, which was approved by the P&Z Commission about a year ago, or a couple of months ago, actually. It consists of 45 multifamily lots and 2 commercial lots. And this is a street view showing that it's currently under construction because the subdivision was approved under the current zoning. And these are the setbacks they're proposing for the development. Multifamily would have your typical 20-foot setback, 10-foot rear setback. And the only difference from the current zoning versus the planned development is they're proposing 4-foot side setbacks instead of the typical 5-foot side setback. The future land use shows this area as mixed-use development, so it is consistent with the future land use plan because this is a mixed-use development. We did notify the property owners within a 200-foot radius. Staff received no objections. A public hearing was also conducted by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Staff received no objections. And again, just to reiterate, the only reason they're applying for the PD is just to have some flexibility with the side setbacks, because under a planned development district, it allows flexibility with some of the land use regulations. So the flexibility would just be by 1 foot for the side setback. Instead of 5 feet, they're going with 4 feet, because apparently the developer has a specific plan where he wants the multifamily units to have more frontage and less depth. So that's the whole purpose of the PD request. I'll take any questions, and the applicant is present for questions.
This is right next to that big old apartment complex.
Right, that's correct.
Is that up and going the way it should? In other words, is the construction still in process, or is it limbo?
I believe it's still in process.
I drove by it last week, and my wife and I were like, whoa, they're really moving along.
I think one of my biggest issues, and it goes back to Commissioner Pettis, one of the concerns you brought up when I first got elected, is I know that this place, they don't want to go to the 50-year flood storm, right?
Right, they're sticking with a 25 because that's what it was required at the time of the application.
I grew up in this area, and one of the reasons we never flooded is because we had so many fields around us, right? So they would take the beating, we wouldn't, our neighborhoods. The only neighborhoods that did take it were neighborhoods that, there was one off of Morris Road. It just wasn't built well, and it wasn't, the storm designs for it weren't, I guess, up to par. And so I would talk to this commissioner, ask you all to consider that we make this contingent on them going to a 50-year flood storm.
Is this ex post facto?
Agreed. You're correct.
That's the term?
Well, what they did is they were grandfathered into the 25-year, but they want to make a change. I say we will approve the change if they're willing to go to the 50-year storm.
I agree. I know we've done that before to some other subdivisions. And also, I think it was last meeting we had one developer that was willing to actually voluntarily go to the 50-year. So I don't see why they wouldn't be able to, especially if it's going to help the people that they're going to be providing these homes to.
So the applicant is present. Did you care to address these, the commission?
Jack Brown, Brownlee Allen Associates. Excuse me. They cannot reasonably comply with the 50-year storm. When they first made the application, their proposal was to widen the existing drain ditch along the south side of the property, and that was approved by staff. They went to P&Z. P&Z said it had to be within the subdivision, not adjacent to it for the detention. They lost 2 lots and cost them $100,000 more to go with the 25-year storm. If you try to go to a 50-year, then we'll pull the zoning request and build what we got out there now. The subdivision is approximately 50% complete. Water's in, sewer's in. They've started cutting the streets, so to try and change to a 50-year storm now is just totally unreasonable.
Wait. Walk me through why P&Z denied it again?
I'm sorry, what?
Walk me through why P&Z denied being able to tie into the drainage, because it's right behind it, because that's what separates y'all's land to the neighborhood to the south of it, correct?
I'm sorry, I'm deaf.
I've never been told to speak louder, ever. So I appreciate it, Mr. Brown. I gotta boom my voice. So, as I recall, just because I drive down here pretty often, between your land where y'all are putting the subdivision in and the subdivision to the south of it, y'all already have, there is a drainage ditch right there, right?
That's correct.
So why did P&Z not allow you to tie in?
Half of that ditch is within the property. But the interpretation by certain members on the P&Z board was that this detention must be within the subdivision, not adjacent to it, even though that land was within the subdivision. It was a call by them. And so the developer agreed to it. He lost 2 lots, and it cost him $100,000 more in construction.
That was only a recent change to allow widening of a ditch.
So you're saying that, walk me through, I'm not understanding.
So, okay, when they initially applied, we didn't have that opportunity.
Yeah,
So
we
think that.
had our initial meeting with staff. We proposed what we were going to do. Staff was good with it. Then when we got to P&Z, P&Z wasn't good with it, so they imposed the condition that detention had to be inside the subdivision rather than adjacent to it. And the detention is adjacent to the ditch 50 feet away. Yes, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But we lost 2 lots.
Is there any way to get those lots back and just tie right in?
No, it's already dug out and concrete around the edge of it. It's done.
So we've made some improvements to prevent these issues but we can't go back in time to address that specific issue. Louise, a question for you. At that time, you got the approval from staff, so I'm assuming you agreed to the widening of the ditch at the time, and then it went to P&Z and it was denied there? Is that what happened?
When I got on board, Luis Vargas, TDG for the record, when I got on board, the stage of the project was already in the construction plans. That the agreement was previously, there was a previous agreement, so and we couldn't make that 50-year.
Understand.
At the ordinance that was in effect at the time had no appeal process, so when P&Z made their decision, we either lived with it or withdrew the plan. They agreed to live with it. Now we have an appeal process to the city commission.
So I'm confused. You're under construction, you're putting in infrastructure. So why are we now doing this now?
Making a change.
The developer went to an architect. They worked out a plan for the duplexes they want to put on these lots, and he wants it 2 feet wider than what your current ordinance will allow.
And so that causes all the rigmarole?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Mr. Brown is saying is that if it's not, the commission is inclined to deny, then they'll just go back and disregard this amendment request or this change and
I'm sorry, I
continue.
can't hear.
I'm sorry. I think what you mentioned was that if the commission is inclined to deny the request, then you guys would scrap this change and continue on forward
No, if
with
you,
your
if,
plan?
yeah, if you deny the request for the PDD, we'll continue under the current ordinance. He'll have to scale his buildings back 2 feet.
Right.
And continue.
Right, so that's why we're just so that way we're all on the same page here.
Right.
Is there any other questions for the applicant?
You have a question, go for it.
You go first.
What I want to make sure is that whether we scale it back to the original, or we find a way to tie it into that other detention pond, or what Daniel, Commissioner Lopez was referring to. The number one thing is, are we going to have sufficient drainage and avoid that particular problem? Because right next to you, to what you're building, there's already apartments that are being built. So obviously, any rainwater, stormwater is not going to seep into the ground. It's going to stay up because of the concrete. And that's something that we started out here for a while, trying to make sure that we alleviate those flooding issues.
I did not do the site plan for the apartments nor the engineering for it, but their drainage is tied into a 48-inch storm sewer within Lamb Avenue that goes west to the same ditch that this ties into, the same system, which then it intercepts it at Louisiana, goes west, and then crosses the expressway into the Arroyo. Some years back, we got, when TxDOT redid the expressway, we took out a single 60-inch pipe on the crossing of the expressway, and there's now 2 10-foot boxes there, 10 by 10 boxes. So the drainage in the area has been vastly improved. There is an issue with the drainage south on Morris Road. There's a subdivision down there that they have a lot of water that comes on them from adjacent property. That is not the water off of this subdivision.
Luis, so can you just give us 1 second, Mr. Brown?
Yes, ma'am.
On these conditions now, I know that we can't go back and change things that happened in the past, but with the subdivision, with the request that is being made, if the commission approves this and they continue on with the 25-year, what is your professional opinion on potential flooding or drainage issues?
So we could look into widening that ditch to allow for more drainage capacity as it is, and leave the development as it is, right, a 25-year pond. The other thing that we could do is we could install a check valve on the discharge from this subdivision.
Which we're planning to do.
Yeah. And so those would be my recommendations. Now, this ditch is, I believe, is a drainage, Cameron County Drainage District 5, or maybe an irrigation ditch.
This ditch belonged originally to the irrigation district. It's serving more residential areas now, not farmers. They basically say, hands off, whatever the city wants to do to that ditch is fine. I did a preliminary study of that ditch for the irrigation district 10 years ago, and some of the improvements have been made, particularly a box culvert under Lipscomb, and like I said, the 2 10-foot boxes on the expressway. The ditch can stand to be widened, and especially needs to be cleaned. There's irrigated fields to the southwest of this subdivision, and recently there was an issue with water backing into the subdivision because the discharge from the field of irrigation was eroding soil, dumping it into the ditch, which then caused a blockage and caused the water from that field to back up into this subdivision. So it needs to be cleaned. It needs to be maintained. Irrigation district's not going to maintain it because it serves the farmers just fine. But not only does it back up into this subdivision, which we can see because of our detention pond, but it backs into the 2 subdivisions immediately south of it. You don't see that because the storm sewers for prevents you from seeing it, but it does need to be cleaned.
Is this something we maintain, Craig?
It hasn't been, but we can with the proper conditions.
We might have to enter into an MOU with the irrigation district to actually start to maintain it.
This is the ditch that Oscar looked at a month ago.
That I asked you to look into? Okay. So these are my concerns, is that we asked the applicant, they wanted to do the right thing, it seems like initially, to widen the ditch. And then a prior commission and prior P&Z, I guess, I don't know, denied the request. It didn't, and now they're out $200,000 or whatever those lots cost. And now we're putting more restrictions on them? Is that what we're asking?
No, that was originally what it was, right? It was to tie into a 50-year one. But Mr. Brown's saying that that's just not feasible with where we're at in the process. That goes to Commissioner Mesmer's question, right? Therefore, Mr. Vladagaz has given us other options on how to get to what Commissioner Bettis, Commissioner Morales, and I are all talking about, better drainage for this one neighborhood, and not impeding on Mr. Brown's development.
Because the ship has already sailed.
Correct.
You can't bring it back in the dock and say, do it again.
That I'm aware of that drain into that same system that are being considered right now.
Okay.
So that ditch needs to be improved.
Okay, and I think we had already discussed, and I was trying to figure out if this was the same, there were some concerns that I had already had, and I know that the city is already looking into it and see what we can do to make sure that there's no additional expense to the developer. If it needs to be cleaned, it needs to be cleaned. And there were some issues that are beyond me because I'm not an engineer, but I have full faith in Luis and Craig to ensure that we're doing what we need to do to make sure that that community or that
Originally,
development is safe.
The entire block of land drains south to the ditch. The apartments are developing, they're draining into the storm sewer on land. So that water will no longer come there. And we're limiting ours to a 10-year discharge. So in essence, there'll probably be less water going into the ditch after development with those two developments in place.
Okay. All right, is there any other questions? Okay, thank you both. At this time, we'll open it up for, did I already do that? Public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak for or against?
I'll speak for. Jack Brown, Brownlee Allison.
Thank you. All right, we'll close the public hearing at this time and ask the city attorney to read the caption.
An ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances, ordinance number 16-8 of the City of Harlingen to rezone from multifamily M2 district and general retail GR district to planned development PD district for multifamily and commercial purposes for 12.99 acres out of Block 92 Lansing Hill Subdivision located on the west side of Ed Carey Drive, approximately 2,039 feet south of Expressway 83.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item, Item 17, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution, number 1, amending the Harlingen Community Improvement Board's budget for fiscal year 2022 to 2023, the Tony Butler Golf Course Renovations Project. And
Robert's going to handle
Robert,
this item.
all right.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. This budget amendment increases expenditures by $2 million for the 2023 Tony Butler Golf Course Renovation Project. This item was approved by the Harlingen Community Improvement Board on Thursday, March 30th, 2023. The amendment is necessary to facilitate the award of a construction contract to Mid-America Golf and Landscaping for the 2023 Tony Butler renovation project. The contract was, award price includes base bid and additive bid item number 1 at $4.9 million to Mid-America to commence work by September 11th, 2023. Staff recommends approval.
This item pertains directly to the next agenda item on your agenda. I would like to point out, though, that I was just informed that even if we approve the $2 million, we're still going to be short $370,500 to award the contract to the contractor for the work to be done. So we'll have to go back to the 4B and ask them to amend their initial request if the city commission still wants their work to be done.
Can we pass this now for the 2 million, just to get it started?
Yes, you can. We'll have to go back, and if the 4B fails to approve the 357, I'm sorry, the 370, we'll have to find an alternative source of funds to do that.
Well, I would like to lead them to the dance.
At that point, how much money are we going to be into this?
Well, right now, we would be, if you approve the 2 million, it's 5.1, so roughly about 5.5 million.
In addition to the 375?
No,
Okay.
right now, if you approve the 2 million, it's 5.1 million total that we're into the project. So if we have to go back to the 4B for the extra approximately 400, it'll be 5.5 million. And that way we can do everything.
And then the 4B can meet soon thereafter.
They'll have to consider this request.
And if the 4B does not approve it, then it cannot go forward because you can't award it. Is that right?
Well, there's an item here to consider an award on the agenda for the construction. So it's the next item on the agenda. So we would have to come up.
Essentially pull it from the capital expenditure fund to fill it and then try to get it reimbursed by the 4B board. That would be how we proceed forward.
Yeah.
And as I said at that March 30th meeting, we've done patchwork on this for a long, long time, and it's not working. We need to commit fully the $2 million to get this golf course up to snuff and get it into significantly better shape so we could attract more people who bring more money into Harlingen. And I would say go for it. Go for it all. On 4B, you need to meet like super quickly to do the other 375. Let's get it all done and do it well.
And I agree with him 110%.
This is a resolution. There's no
No,
caption.
there's,
Before we had this meeting, I had about 3 weeks ago, right, Tim? Tim and I met and discussed this. I had some concerns just because it's such a large amount of money, right? We're trying to get money for the airport, for them to do the ramp. This would literally cover everything we would need at the airport. This one expenditure, right? And that would bring in jobs between $50,000 to $100,000 paying jobs, right? So I talked to Tim to figure out how can we get or create a plan to get this place to start making money, right? I don't mind giving them the investment. The golfing community has been very good to Harlingen. They spend their money here. They're very loyal. Tim tells me all the time, and I've been blessed that my Rotary Club's had a bunch of tournaments, annual tournaments there at Tony Butler. We've always had a great turnout. However, I want to see something in writing that will show how the money's going to be spent, and I don't want them coming back to either the 4B or this city to ask for more money, right? I know that they need to replace their golf carts or whatnot, and so Jeff did a phenomenal job in such a short amount of time, and he gave us this printout right here. I kind of gave each one of you all a copy. Jeff, you want to pop up here, kind of walk us through it?
I don't think you gave me a copy,
I
Commissioner.
gave everyone a copy.
Yes, sir. I don't have a copy. I gave it to you. I'm sorry.
Here.
Yeah, I have it now, yes.
Jeff, walk us through it.
Walk it through it. Okay.
No pressure, even all these guys here waiting to hear what you have to say.
Basically, our operating expenses is $1 million a year. And as you can see from 2019, 2020, we have increased revenues every year. We've bettered the golf course, but we've got it as good as we possibly can with the current greens being clay greens and not sand-based greens, like every other golf course in the valley has. They're modernized their greens. Our irrigation system is constantly, we have leaks everywhere. We have leaks almost every day, and that's not an exaggeration. It's almost every day we have a leak on the golf course. The irrigation system's pretty well shot. The irrigation system's PVC pipe, we are by the Aurora, and we have an incredible amount of land movement. The ground moves, and it bends that pipe up and just destroys it. What we're trying to put in is HDPE piping, which is more like a really, really thick garden hose. It has a 20-year guarantee not to leak. So that's some of the things that would help us on the irrigation system. On my projections and speculations, it's very hard to do a 10-year projection of what we're going to do. You never know if we're going to have a pandemic or whatever's going to happen, but this will greatly increase the amount of people that are coming to Harlingen to play golf. There's lots of people that travel to Mission, to Palmview to play there, to Terra Santa to play those golf courses because they're very nice, good golf courses. Harlingen could have this. We have the opportunity to make a very, very good golf course a destination, and that's the point of this whole project. It brings in Winter Texans. I did the projections. Basically, it's lined out and they're very, very, very cautious. So, but this would still have us at year number 3 that we would be generating a break even or a profit for the year. We are going to have to replace the carts eventually. What we did was the advisory board suggested that we do a 25 carts a year at a time, so it's not such a hit. The price of our current carts we're getting $3,500 back from the dealerships, which is a very good trade-in value. That's 25 carts is going to cost us about $75,000.
What is the average lifespan of a golf cart?
About 4 years on a golf course that plays over 30,000 rounds. We do 43,000 rounds last year. Our carts, this is going into our 5th year. So we have placed them and pieced them together. All of them have new batteries. I think there's close to 60 of them have new starters out of our 65. We have 75 because 10 of them are brand new from last year. So almost all of them have new starters. So they're working, and we're patching them together, and we're getting them to run. And we can continue with the addition of the reel grinder that y'all gave us money to purchase several years ago. We can take care of our equipment, and we're hoping to have that last a lot longer than it has previously in the past. So we're not going to come to you in a couple of years and ask you for $250,000 for equipment.
You're not?
No, we're not. We might ask for one item, but not $250,000 for the all new equipment replacement like it was done in 2019, I believe. The schools, we have 11 schools that practice out there, but there's well over 50 schools that play out there as far as tournaments throughout the year. The 11 schools, we have a couple of there's 4 of them that play both semesters, and then we've got the rest that come out just for the spring. We do free golf lessons. The Pan American Golf Association usually does about quarterly. They will do free clinics for juniors, and they'll do them on a Saturday. And I think any junior from age 7 to 18 can come and get free lessons. What else would y'all like to know?
So we did a study, and it came back, we need X plus $2 to do this. And so the first round, the 4B did, and now this is the second round of funding. And so there is a plan to do items 1, 2, 3, 4 ad infinitum to complete,
Yes,
to
sir.
bring this golf course up to snuff. We're just not giving you money to say, go have a good time.
No.
There is a plan for it to be done beautifully and perfectly.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
And all you need is money.
That's correct.
Okay.
How long how long would it take to make all the improvements?
Generally about 6 months. The growing period is the longest. They can put the irrigation system in about a month and a half. And then planting the greens and having them grow in would be the longest period of that time-consuming time.
And would be closed those 6 months, correct?
Yes. The executive
Well,
nine was to be,
yeah, 1 through 18 would be closed.
1 through 18, but the executive nine would be open.
Right.
Is that why this 2024, your projections are lower, or?
Yes,
I
that's-
didn't understand that. Can
That
you-
was because that is saying on the questions that Daniel had given was, what if we closed from September to April of last year? That's why the projections are so low. We're going to lose out on about $493,000 that were based on what we did this year, and we'll only make about $100,000 next year if we close in the fall. We're going to lose that money because we're not going to have, the course won't be open, but the executive nine will be. So I'm estimating we're going to make about $100,000 on the executive nine, because that's what we're going to make on it about this year during that time period.
And since we're going to be closed, what will our overhead be while closed on holes 1 through 18?
Our overhead is going to be fairly close to the same. I mean, we're not going to be buying merchandise, which is $30,000. We're not going to be buying as many snack bars, so we'll probably lose, that's probably $15,000, $20,000 there, so probably $50,000 less than what we normally do. And so it's not going to be a lot, because we're still going to be operating as a golf course. We're still going to have our workers out there taking care of the executive nine. We still have to have people in the snack bar and in the pro shop to collect fees and to serve food and breakfast and we'll still have to have our cart people to take care of the carts.
So we're going to lose 800,000. We'll be in the red, 800,000, while we do the construction. That's what I'm guessing, right? If we get 100,000 from the executive nine, right?
Yes.
If our overhead's $1 million, subtract 100, that goes us to 900,000, right? You're saying
It's going to be about 700,000 maybe.
we'll be in the red 700,000.
No, this is only closed only for that, but then we'd be open summer. I mean, the summer would open, but we don't do a bunch during the summer.
You don't do what?
We don't do a lot of revenue in the summer right now.
So hot.
It is very hot. They play in the mornings and the evenings.
How much revenue do you get out of the snack bar on average?
For the year, it runs about 125,000
And do you-
Gross or net?
gross.
Okay. And net?
I would say we break about even in the snack bar.
Okay.
And maybe a little bit, maybe lose a little. It's a service. Very few snack bars in the golf industry actually make money.
Well, I've spoken with a few people that had expressed some interest of wanting to open up. I don't know if there's a full kitchen or.
There is a full kitchen. We don't have the proper vent hood to do French fries or some of those items like that. We have a flat stove. We can cook hamburgers, we cook hot dogs, and then we cook breakfast burritos. It's more of a snack bar. And then we do a lot of candy and donuts and stuff like
Beer.
that. Beer. Cold drinks, yes.
Golfers drink a lot of beer.
To beer. Well, I was just, if there's a way, I fully support the golf course. I think you're doing a phenomenal job. I
Well,
think
thank you.
you have really, you're an asset to the golf course, and I think that obviously there's a lot of people here to advocate for it, but I have gotten, and I shared this with Craig, and I think with Commissioner Lopez, that we have been, at least I have gotten a lot of emails and phone calls and messages from individuals from the community that are unhappy with spending money on the golf course. A lot of people don't understand, and I think I even mentioned this to the chief. I've gotten some people that say, hey, and why don't you spend that money and give the police money, give them more money and get more cops, and they don't understand that you can't use those funds to fund the police department. So this is for quality of life. This is something that the 4B board can do and should do, but we have to do it responsibly and need to know that you're maximizing profits and that there is going to be that revenue. So I think all possible avenues of revenue need to be revisited, even the snack bars, to make sure that we don't break even, that you're making a profit on everything because you have so many people coming in. I look at the country club, right, the golf course, and folks there, you know, you have to spend money in that restaurant if you want to play golf, right? Maybe
Correct.
that's something that our course needs to consider, that you have to spend a certain amount of money in order to have a membership. I mean, there's got to be a way to become profitable. If the city's going to invest over $5 million into the golf course, we need to find a way to justify that to the rest of the community. We know we have the advocates here, and they're going to be happy, but we also have the rest of the community to explain to them that this is a responsible decision. I see the vision. I see the future. I know that we have a lot of potential. I know that the tournaments are being held there already. I know that you're passionate and you're going to put in the work, but you know, how do we explain that to the community to ensure that they know that we're being fiscally responsible?
Well, you touched on something right there too, important. The 4B board money that is earmarked directly for quality of life
Correct.
for Harlingen, and it can't be used for the police department or drainage or something like this. The thing that I told the 4B board is we're definitely going to have more people come. There are actually definitely going to be more people come to Harlingen to play the golf course. It's like people travel to play South Padre Island or Palmview. They travel, they eat there, they even stay the night there. There's more tax money. That's the golf course is actually, they're making the city money on the tax money that does doesn't even really factor into the golf course's bottom line number at the end of the year. It will bring in money for other businesses which do have sales tax is what we're doing. I think we completely will hit the ground running once this starts, and then it'll be all just everybody will be patting herself on the back saying we did a great job. I mean, 'cause that's what I truly believe that in my heart. I wouldn't tell you that if I didn't believe it. But
If I can piggyback off something the mayor said, I mean, this is big money to me.
it
$2
is. It's very
million
big money.
Big freaking money. And I know what you're saying is true, that the money can only be earmarked for specific things, but all people are gonna see is we gave $2 million to the golf course.
Yes, sir.
That's all, we still got potholes. We still got lights that don't work. We still got, potential flooding issues.
Flooding, yes.
And, man, if you get this, you gotta make this freaking work.
Right?
I
mean, this baby gotta shine.
I will promise my life on it. I will do my best I can.
I'm sorry, B, I'm a little backwoodsy compared to.
No,
some
I
of the
completely
folks out
understand
here,
you,
but
Commissioner. I understand.
You gotta make this work, brother.
Let
Yes,
me
sir.
remind everybody, before we forget. I don't know if it was 2019, 2020? Okay. What was it, holes 19 through 22 were supposed to be up for sale?
Yes.
The commission at the time was directed, or somebody directed, the directive was not to irrigate those holes, which was a good portion, more than half of the executive 9, and those were closed to the public. From then on, it just started to deteriorate even more. Right now, the emails that I got as I was coming on board, all right, I got emails from Wisconsin where we had people wanting to come here and wanted that executive 9. We've heard from the lady behind you, how many schools can come out here and do that? One of the things that I had a phone call with a gentleman, he wanted golf lessons for kiddos. Well, guess what? They did that on April the 8th. We'll sponsor, it was the Harlingen chapter of Pan American Golf Club. Tony Butler, Trinity Funeral Home, Harlingen Boys Club. Free of charge. Open to all beginner golfers, 7 through 18, putting and driving range. Okay, so they're doing this, and we have a very poor golf course. I do know, I do believe that as soon as they start getting that off the ground, it'll flock. I've heard it from other individuals before tonight of the tournaments that we can have. But they don't show up for one simple reason. That course is not worthy to have anybody come in to look at it and say, yes, I want to have a tournament. Unfortunately, had we given this golf course some attention years back, we would be thriving. A lot of funds went into the destination park. And this, the fact that we're trying to sell this golf course or make it these 9 holes, or what was it, 4 or 5 holes that was gonna be sold, turned out it couldn't be sold because it's grandfather from 1927 when that was given away. That's a 100-year-old golf course. What is it, 3-4 years short of 100? Now, the whispers that I've heard are kind of disturbing. And I'm not out there looking to find dirt on anybody, it just falls. It just comes to me, all right, in conversations. So the question still remains, and I cannot confirm who was going to purchase that property and who were they going to compete, okay? So this is one that, yes, it's a lot of money, but I can assure you, once it's spent, we will not be able to see just how much tax revenues are going to increase from people coming in to eat. We do have an academy that's around the corner. They do sell golf equipment. They will be competing against Mr. Elliott. Okay, we do have a golf shop that's going to increase in merchandise, not because he wants to, but because the demand is going to be there. So this is one that I've been for it since before I got on board, before I ever dreamed of running for office.
If I may speak as the historian here, 2 previous city commissioners ago, in order to balance the budget, cut here, cut there, cut this, cut that, and strangled the city, including the golf course. And it became negative entropy. The idea was, well, if we sold off the executive 9 to whomever, then we could get that money and fix up the 18. And as you pointed out, Frank, that property can't be sold in the deed. It's a golf course for now 97, 98 years, and it will be for infinity. It will have to always be a golf course. That was just an idea that was floated. There were no buyers. People talked, well, we could sell it to these people or those people, but nothing ever happened because it couldn't happen. It was just an idea. And so, once again, we've got to fully fund this golf course. We got to make it what it is supposed to be. Quit nickel and diming the golf course. Do it right.
Well,
But I repeat myself.
I think,
Thank you.
I agree with Ford that one of the things that does concern me is how people are going to see this. And you guys are absolutely right. They're going to see this as just, just like you said, oh, you gave to the golf course, but we still have potholes and all the other stuff. And honestly, I'm worried about that because most people are not going to pay attention to the fact that, it's money that cannot be used, like Norma said earlier, for the police department or drainage or anything like that. So I am worried about that. But at the same time, I see this as a final step in a long process that actually started when Frank and I got elected, and we were the ones that were pushing to open the back 9 after it was closed. And then little by little, getting to know Tim and then getting with Jeff. And honestly, before this, I had never even played golf before. I hadn't. And then I finally went out there to Tony Butler Golf Course. I tried it out. I actually enjoyed it. And my young son got into it. And now we play whenever we can. But what actually sold me on the golf course was my students. I have a lot of students that are in golf. In fact, one of my students right now is, I think in the next week or so, he's going to be playing for the state. Actually, it's something else. some of my students right now, actually, this was a week ago, or a couple weeks ago, they got the district championship just recently. And that's something that I'm proud of, and I know we as a commission for our students here are proud of too. And I know it starts off at the golf course, where these kids put in all that hard work and all the time it takes to get as good as they got in order to win the championship. So I'm fully aware of how this is going to look like, but honestly, I think if we wanted to be better than it is right now, again, doesn't happen often, but I agree with Mike, that we have to go all in on this, and we need to push this and just get it done out of the way. And I think honestly that a lot of the people that may be against it, once the golf course is actually finished and they actually go out there themselves and they'll see, they're like, hey, this is really, really nice. And also I'm looking forward to all the new people that's going to attract, and hopefully new businesses and all that stuff. So I think this is, like I said, a good thing to do.
Make it work.
So, yes, so
You need to, Jeff.
Thank y'all very much.
I think that it's important for us to stay accountable, and so I think with that comes transparency, and it would be great if you could keep us informed as well as the community. And so, like we've done with other organizations, I'd like for you to, I'm hoping that the commission is inclined to provide the money to do the improvements that's needed, but I would like for you to provide the commission or through the city manager a proposed fees that these are just projected. I'm not gonna, you're not gonna be married to them if but I would like to see how you see those to be increased so that you have additional revenue. So that way we can look at that and see that we're in line with your vision. And I'd like for you to continue to update, and I know you're here often at these meetings, and updating the commission on the progress of the improvements that are being made. And you're going to still have to go and sell it to the 4B board for those additional funds. And so it is a huge undertaking for the city to do this. I think that you have a commission that wants to support you and do the right thing. You're never going to make everyone happy all of the time, and so I understand that. As much as we'd like to fix all of the issues, we can't. I think this is a good project, but you have to do good by the people of Harlingen. That's what we were elected to do. That's why we're here. So you need to make sure that you are being good stewards of taxpayer money, and making sure that we are investing in a project that's going to be successful in the future. As a mom of two boys that like to golf, I understand the passion. I know that it's something that is going to be it's going to be around forever. It's not going anywhere. If anything, people are even more excited about golf than ever before, right? It's an activity to do outdoors, and so the pandemic actually helped the golf industry more than anything. So, and I have full faith that Elliott Store is going to do great. It doesn't matter who comes into town, because you have a following, right? And people are, at least in Harlingen, support small businesses. So I'm not too concerned about that, but I do worry, as Commissioner Lopez brought out, if there's additional things that are going to be needed, you're going to have to make that profit to be able to buy those things. You're not going to be able to come over here and say, hey, I need money for this and money for that. If you ask for $5, I might frown.
I understand.
That, sell more hot dogs or burgers or whatever you got to do. But let's make that let's work together, and please provide that information to us so that way we know what your plan is. I hadn't seen this. This is great. I had talked to Craig and explained I had some similar concerns, so I'm glad that you put this together. I know you're working really hard and you need the money. You got to make money. You have to have money to make money, right? So we get it. But we want the Tony Butler Golf Course to be the golf course of the Rio Grande Valley, and that's a big task.
That's my vision also, Mayor.
But I think we can do it. Do you have budget in your budget with this? You're going to have money for marketing?
I put it in the budget this year coming up.
Okay. Just saying, because if you don't market what you have, nobody.
This year I had 2,500, and we used it on advertising the bid. I put in 25,000 this year.
We might have to use Christina's department to help them with marketing, starting off
So I intend for this to be a tourist attraction, and so we have a CVB board, right? Can't they
Well-
promote as well for tourism
Well,
outside of the valley?
We can only promote for anything that's going to get heads in beds. We used to actually market the golf course with hot funds, but we're told by our attorneys that that wasn't eligible.
But we can do it outside of the Rio Grande Valley, right? Where these Winter Texans in where,
Right, we can advertise and maybe,
yeah.
yeah.
Especially if you're bringing different conventions.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to the golf community, I was a solid no on this. So if you see Tina Puente, she's in my district, your aunt, Commissioner Puente's mother, you better give her a big kiss and whatever she says. She's the one that convinced me to give you guys a shot, man. That woman convinced me too much.
And make it work.
Yeah, agreed.
That's the theme, you better make it work.
So,
Yes,
so
thank
I
you
would-
very much.
If I may,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve resolution number 1, amending the Harlingen Community Improvement Board's budget 4B for fiscal year 22-23 Tony Butler Golf Course Renovations Project.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank y'all.
Congratulations.
Thank y'all very much. Thank you, sir.
All right. These guys are agreeing on over here. Interesting. Okay, moving on to 18, consideration and possible action to authorize the city manager to award a construction contract to Mid-America Golf and Landscape for the 2023 Tony Butler Golf Course Renovations Project, including base bid and additive bid item number 1.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Craig Cook, Assistant City Manager, External Services. Thank you for your recent decision on the $2 million. Let me explain the $370,000, $400,000, if you will, the city manager mentioned. I can do math. I am a licensed engineer. Half of that delta is because of the increase in Mid-America's bid. They gave us their bid in January. It was valid for 60 days. The 4B board met about 5 days after that bid became invalid. And so while at the same time that I was preparing to talk to the 4B board, I asked for a bid extension from Mid-America. And they came back and said, we're happy to give you 45 days or so more until 27, 25 April. But there is a price increase specifically to the irrigation piping that Jeff mentioned, as well as the grass seed that we want to put on our new sand greens called Paspalum. That was about $250,000 of this $400,000. The rest of it was, and for those of you that were at the 4B board, you heard me say several times that we had $2.8 million left of the remaining 3.1, and that was in error. Had I read Robert's financial report, which was the agenda item after mine that evening, he only showed 2.6 million, 2.580 rather. So that's the difference. I wasn't trying to hide the ball. If I would have known I needed to ask for 2.4 million, I would have asked the 4B board for 2.4 million. The position we're in right now, based on your previous approval of the 2 million, I only have a few days to award the contract to Mid-America before it expires again at the price of $4,951,314.37. And what I think I heard the city manager say at the beginning, or perhaps it was Commissioner Lopez, I'm sorry.
It's because we look alike.
Both hands.
I need to award.
You have more hair than I do.
I need to award the contract once for all, and I need $4.9 million. So if the city provides the $400,000 and gets it back from the 4B, I'm personally fine with that, and I'm happy to go speak to the 4B board again about that. But I need authorization to award the contract basically tomorrow.
And
before
we
it
should
expires.
do this before the prices go up
And-
again.
And I assure you, Commissioner,
They
if we were
will.
to ask for another extension, then the 400 would become 6 or 8.
I'll make the motion to approve you paying out the 4.9 or what the dollar amount is.
Yes.
And then for you to also go to the 4B board to ask for the gap.
For that gap.
We'll float on the 300.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem, you need to run the meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any discussion? No? So Daniel, care to repeat your motion? Or who made the motion?
I made the motion.
Commissioner Lopez.
Okay, go for it.
Make a motion to award a construction contract to Mid-America Golf and Landscape for the 2023 Tony Butler Golf Course Renovations Project, as well as to ask Craig to go to the 4B board immediately to get that money back.
To which I seconded. Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? It passes.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I can't add. I really feel bad. I can't add.
Okay.
19, Mayor.
Thank you. Item 19, consideration and possible action to reduce the speed limit from 40 miles per hour to 30 miles per hour on South Altas Palmas Road from I-2 frontage to Business US 83 and from 30 miles per hour to 20 miles per hour on streets within the SunWest Mobile Home Park off Business 83.
For the record, Craig Cook, Assistant City Manager. We have two speed limits that we'd like to reduce, 2 areas. I'll speak to the slides because the reproductions in your packets you can't really see. There was a request for 2 speed humps on South Altas Palmas Road. That the request was approved. That road is a minor arterial, and the ordinance requires it should be a local road. And the first thing we need to do is lower its speed limit. We'll address the fact that it's an arterial in the appeals process, but we want to reduce the speed limit from 40 to 30 for about 0.8 of a mile from the frontage road to, I've forgotten the street, sorry.
South Altas Palmas Road?
I'm trying to think, there it is, south end of Odom's Lane. As I say, it's about 0.8 miles. The other change that we're proposing is a reduction from 30 to 20 in the SunWest Mobile Home Park, which looks like this. It's off of US 83.
So those are city streets.
Those are city streets. It's unmarked, therefore, by state law, it's a 30-mile-an-hour zone. As you can see, there are lots of small streets. You come in from the freeway down this way. They asked Commissioner Perez for either speed humps or a reduction of speed. And city staff thought that, well, if we put a speed hump there, that's not going to protect these streets down here, so we put one there, we put one over here, we put one down here. It would be 5 or 6 speed humps. The more simple thing to do is just to lower the speed limit.
Hey, Craig, if I can just jump in.
You may.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, well done.
Motion
No
carries.
offense, Craig, I
I
love you,
take the
man,
hint,
but-
thank you.
God, you gotta move it.
Item 20, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution authorizing the city manager to submit a grant application to the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Community-Oriented Policing Services, fiscal year 23 COPS hiring program on behalf of the Harlingen Police Department. Chief?
Mayor, Commissioners, I know it's already been a long night, so I'll keep my remarks down to 30 or 40 minutes. Yes.
We've already done that. We applied for it last year as well, right?
Well, sort of, you approved the application. We had a lot of difficulties coming right down to the end, and we actually didn't get it in. So
Okay.
that's why it's back on the table. But the main reason why I'm here is to make sure you understand a couple principles about the grant. It's listed as a 75-25 grant, but there is a cap on the amount per officer, which is 125,000. And
That's over a 3-year period.
And it's over a 3-year period. So, but when it comes to us, it actually works out to be almost 50-50. It's actually 52-47, because it's all salaries and benefits, and it's an overhire grant. Currently, we're at 134 authorized strength. I want to add 10 officers, get us up to 144. The main reason for that is the last census, we're at 72,000, just under. And pretty much an industry standard is 2 officers per 1,000. So that's 144. So it kind of fits in perfectly for that. But, yeah, the total grant would be about $2.4 million. But 1.25 million of that would come from the federal side, and then the city match would be about 1.15. So, and this is just the application. So should we be awarded it, we'd come back so you can better understand, because by that time the budget numbers probably would have funneled in a little better. And I don't know exactly when this grant would start, but again, it's an overhire grant, so we'd have to get to full strength, which we're going to be 4 under here shortly, and then get all the way above that to the 144 number. So,
Make a motion to approve.
second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Chief. Item 21, public hearing and possible action to approve an ordinance on first reading amending the Harlingen City Code, Chapter 42, Article 2, hotel occupancy tax requiring registration and payment of hotel occupancy tax by short-term rentals, prohibiting discrimination, providing for a penalty for violation of same, and other matters related to the foregoing. Mark?
Yes, Mayor. I was asked to prepare an ordinance dealing with the issue of the hotel motel occupancy tax. Currently, hotel and motels pay an occupancy, or residents at hotel and motels pay an occupancy tax, but that burden is not shared by short-term rentals. And what this ordinance does is it basically makes it equal, that people staying at hotel motels would, or people staying with short-term rentals would pay the same hotel occupancy tax that are paid by guests at hotel motels.
So this would mean Airbnbs?
Correct.
Golden Palms, they rent their rooms out?
Correct. It also protects people from discrimination in short-term housing and imposes a penalty for violation of the ordinance.
All this hot tax fund money goes into like the CVB, which would go to like Rio Fest and other quality of life projects that all Harlingen residents would benefit from, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Perfect.
Right, and it's not just CVB, it's also, like HPAT gets money. And we get money for the Iwo Jima Monument, MMA. There's a few others who receive money also.
Stuff that brings people into town, events.
And most communities already have adopted something similar.
Yeah.
We're
gonna
just
do
kind
that.
of behind. Okay, so this requires a public hearing. Is there anyone that wishes to speak for or against?
Question,
Hold on. Having no one here to speak, we'll close the public hearing.
so how will Airbnbs and Golden Palms know this?
Well, it's published, but there's a registration process that's set forth, and
And we'll send them a notice also saying that this is passed, I'll have to start collecting that tax.
Okay, so we have a list of suspects, right?
We can get
Who
that,
aren't
yes.
paying tax, but
Yes.
So, and is there a plan?
Not paying tax, right, but they haven't been taxed yet.
Haven't been
Right,
That if
required.
this gets passed, then
Thank
that
you.
tax will apply to them.
is this, to use my favorite legal phrase of the evening, is this ex post facto?
No.
Okay.
Okay. And we will identify all of the properties, how? Aside from the ones that we know about.
Right, we'll also go to the websites that advertise these and look them up there, and then also check with the Hotel Motel Association to see if they have a listing of these as well.
Okay.
And just start there.
Okay, because I know when Commissioner Mesmer and I went to the National League's City Conference, there were several companies, and there was a ton of them that, I didn't think that we had that many, but they had a map, they pulled up really quick, and it was quite a bit, very eye-opening.
And that's the another option,
Okay.
to hire somebody to do it for us.
All right, so ask the city attorney to read the caption.
An ordinance of the City of Harlingen, Texas, amending City Code at Chapter 42, Article 2, Hotel Occupancy Tax, requiring registration and payment of hotel occupancy tax by short-term rentals, prohibiting discrimination and providing for a penalty for violation of same, and other matters related to the foregoing.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 22, board appointments. We'll start with Commissioner Kinsley.
I have none, ma'am.
None.
I have one, Vivian Sepulveda for Healthy Harlingen.
None.
None.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And that is our, no executive session. That is our meeting. Thank you so much. Y'all have a wonderful evening. This meeting is adjourned.